ESPN.
Last night was awfully crazy. I wish we taped it.
Not kidding.
That's pretty good.
It was a big burrito, Slee. Probably a half a dozen eggs in that thing.
This is the
literally
beauty with Southern California. You can't go a mile and a half without passing a taco shop.
No,
You can't.
they're everywhere.
I mean, wherever.
And they're all good. That's the other thing.
Go from L.A., drive down to San Diego. Before I even get on the freeway, I passed 9 taco shops. I mean, everywhere you go, that's where they are. So
That's my issue with my friend who's visiting. She's like, yeah, I just like don't really like tacos. And I was like, okay, so where are we gonna eat?
Delete her from your phone and keep it moving. Just you
I was like, okay.
look. We've all made mistakes with our relationships. Just hey, it's nice knowing you, but we're done here.
Yeah, and I
that's
still
it.
would love to see.
I was trying to think of something. That's it. It's over.
I would
What's
love
not
to see
to
the
like?
keg stand, Travis. I need to see the keg stand at some point because now it's in my mind and I need to see it at some point.
Well, we got a couple of tweets here. Mello writes, now I'm going to be thinking of Travis, the Kool-Aid man, all day long. That's what I did. Look, I showed you the picture.
You're
Al.
much meaner to yourself.
There's a little
than you
Kool-Aid
really
man
are.
vibe
No, there
in that
isn't.
picture.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
Here I am having to defend you.
Have you ever seen me wear? Look, I got a sweater on today.
You go dark.
It's navy
Yeah, you
blue.
usually go dark.
I wear black, navy blue, gray, occasionally something a little lighter blue. This is red, like a fire engine. I look ridiculous. Matthew Pelosi says, I believe Trav was wearing his red keg sitting shirt. It wasn't of the standing variety. Yeah, it's
Okay.
the opposite, but
Yes.
same idea, but
Right.
the opposite. And then one more, Dan Peralta says, the way that Trav talks about Kelly versus how you talk about the boys, she's definitely owning the top spot of the Roger
Completely
Kidd
different.
Power
Completely
Rankings.
different.
It's different.
And it is different. You're right in the
She
sense
needs to have
that.
her stuff together.
Yes. That is the number one reason.
Well, and what she said, the way you described, where she was trying to accommodate
she gets me.
to you, and I think it's she gets you, but I think it's also her just probably. She will try to kind of think of what does the other person want.
Yes.
Like if it's not just you, right? She's thinking of others. Bobby and Michael is a little bit different right now.
They think about in this order themselves. End of list. By the way, that's exactly how I was until I was maybe 30. It takes a while
That was awesome.
to
And Kelly
kind of
doesn't
have that
shoes
get out of
issues,
you.
I'm sure.
That was really good.
Yeah, no, she's on top of the rankings, but they're all doing pretty good right now. It's all good. Breaking news, right? Breaking news on 710 is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for locations and coupons today. It is official. Former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr is now Saints quarterback Derek Carr. 4 years, $150 million with $100 million guaranteed. That is per the rap sheet and Mike Garafolo. Carr will receive $70 million effectively, fully guaranteed. $60 million at signing, another $10 million in year 3, vesting after year 1. Derek Carr has been a average NFL quarterback, right? Is that fair? Average?
Yeah.
Maybe slightly below
No,
average?
I think average is a great compliment to Derek Carr.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to knock Derek Carr.
150.
What?
$150 million, Al. Derek Carr to the Saints.
It's all you got to be is just a freaking average quarterback in the league, and you're getting 100 before anything even happens. That's amazing. That's incredible. And the funny thing is, what does that do? Does that, like, you look at that deal, and I got nothing against Derek Carr. If he goes and has success with the Saints, awesome.
Well, tell me as a Raider fan how you feel about him getting the money.
It's good somebody else went and paid him. So you could leave it that way. But I will say that, do you read any of that and it says to you, oh, watch out for the Saints?
Exactly right. Al, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Damn.
That's one of those. The Saints just spent $100 million guaranteed. So let's take the 150 off the table. $100 million on Derek Carr. Are the Saints a team that you sweat at all?
No. Absolutely not.
Not at all. If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Raiders or Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets, do you sweat either one of those two teams? Yep. Sure do.
That's a lot more interesting.
Sure do.
Yeah.
And this is, I think this is, and this is not just an NFL thing. This is all pro sports, the NBA, Major League Baseball. Just because you need something doesn't mean you have to pay top dollar for it, right? I get it. The Saints needed a quarterback. That Taysom Hill and Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston were not the answers to their problems.
Yeah.
Neither is Derek Carr. Now and again, I guess $25 million in the grand scheme of things in the NFL is kind of the average price of an NFL quarterback, but I don't want to go spend a ton of money
Average price for an average quarterback.
I guess,
Yeah.
but where did we get? What do we do? How do you sell this to your fans? I don't understand what that is. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm feeling a lot better about my future. I don't know if Jarrett Stidham is my quarterback coming into the season. I don't know if you jump into the pool and try to get Rodgers a deal done there, if there's something else, but at least I have flexibility. I'm not locked into somebody who's proven to be average with very little ways out.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, this is the one beauty about the NFL. 14 teams now get in the playoffs. You can basically say 7 new teams are going to get in next year. I don't know if the Saints feel like they're a Derek Carr away from being in a playoff spot. Maybe they are. It just, when I read that and you look at the details, you look at the team that he's going to, none of it's like, oh, wow, watch out for the Saints. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we can be sitting here 6-7 months from now and the Saints football season starts. They're playing some good football.
Maybe we're wrong. It wouldn't be the first time that either one of us are wrong about something like this, but wouldn't there have been at some point where you're looking at Derek Carr going, that guy's really good? Have you ever looked at Derek Carr and thought, that guy's really good? There's been times where you thought he's good enough, but
Or he had a great game.
That's anybody. Baker Mayfield's had great games.
Yep.
He's not a great quarterback. You've had great games, but that's the part that I worry about as a football fan. If I were a Raider fan for a long time, like, is he the reason we stink? No. Would we be better with a better guy? Yeah, probably.
He's also going to play for Dennis Allen. He's not going to play for Sean Payton and Saints. He's going to play for it's. Again, we did this kind of this morning. Like, oh, where's the NFC going to look next year? We were like, yeah, take away NFC South. No one right now is a threat, even with Derek Carr.
We were kind of talking about the Rams because the Rams are obviously looking to either trade Leonard Floyd or they're just going to cut him. We know that Bobby Wagner got released. Jalen Ramsey's got 1 foot out the door. And Allen Robinson, as of this morning, has asked to be traded. And the Rams are like, yeah, cool. We'll see what we can come up with. You look for NFC playoff spots, which the Rams did not have one of them. The Saints aren't one of those teams that you're thinking about being in your way. They're not on the list. And they just spent $100 million on a quarterback that you know exactly what it is. Let's try quick phone call here. Studio City and Paul. Paul, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Paul?
Guys, thanks for taking the call, and I respect your guys' opinions. I do. I disagree with you on the Derek Carr assessment simply because, look, I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm doing this out of respect to what the opponent has been for a long time now. And I've always felt like Derek Carr's never gotten a good shake in Oakland and then Las Vegas because, I mean, yes, last year you could say he had weapons, but you know, Darren Waller doesn't stay healthy. And let's not forget that not too much credit or blame on the individual. These are team sports. You have to have a good coaching staff. He had like 6 different offensive coordinators in a row in his career, or 5. I mean, the guy's never had a stable offensive coordinating team. Now he has a new head coach with McDaniels. Now he has a new head coach in New Orleans. Hopefully he gets the weapons he deserves because it always looks like from the other side that Derek is definitely capable. I think he's above average. I just think average isn't a fair shake for Derek. That's why he's getting paid that money. You are what you're worth. I mean, he got that money. I'd say the Saints obviously think he's above average. So I disagree with you guys respectfully, but, you know.
You got it, Paul.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I think that will be a great test for him, too. And it's not like the NFC South has 12-win teams there.
No, if they win 10, you probably
win the division.
They could
make the playoffs, but they'd be a bad team.
They could win the division and be a bad team. That's not out of the ordinary,
right? Tampa just did that.
8 and 9 they were.
Yeah, they're not a good. I agree with what you're saying, Paul, about that you're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. He's worth $100 million because that's what he's worth.
Yeah.
The market determined that's what he's worth. That's fine. But the other part that he's saying, well, you need some help. Yeah, you do. You absolutely need weapons. You need a good coach. You need some stability. You need an organization that can put you in a position to have success. He's been in the league a long time, right? That when you look at these things, he's had some of these things at other points of time where you could evaluate him fairly, I think. The most important thing you have in an NFL team is your head coach. If you got a good coach, you're off to a pretty good start. The second most important thing is the quarterback. Beyond that, we can argue, offensive line, weapons, whatever.
Yeah.
If you have Derek Carr, if you gave Derek Carr Sean McVay, are you sweating him? Maybe a little more than you are with Dennis Allen, but I saw with my own eyes last year, Slee, against the Rams. He was dreadful. And I'm not just talking about one game. There are multiple moments where you're like, this is just not good enough.
Or Raiders find, how many times did the Raiders find a way to lose a game they should have won, where they're a drive away from saying, hey, this game is out of reach. If we just close this out, we can do it right now. There were a lot of games where Carr wasn't able to do that.
All right, Lakers yesterday get a nice win against Golden State. And when was the last time we could say this? The Lakers, I'd like to do it on Monday mornings, right? Yep. Where are they? Well, they're tied for 10th. They're technically in 11th because Utah has the season series against them right now. Mm-hmm. But they have the same record as the team in 10th place. They're basically tied for 6th at this point. Like everybody from 6 through about 12 is within a game or two apart from one another. They're catching a break. They got the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow without Ja Morant. That's a nice little break. Clippers are going the wrong way. Dallas can't seem to quite figure it out. We've been talking all season long about how they can't get into the top 10. If this week breaks right for them, and they could be in 6th place by the time we walk in here next Monday morning. They could also be in 13th. You know, it all comes together, but we'll get to all of this. But seeing Anthony Davis last night, he was terrific. Mm-hmm. No qualifiers beyond. He was terrific. He was great. They're playing hard. They look like they can win a handful of games. And I don't know the last time we said that, where it feels like never mind playing, but beyond playing is not just I know it can, but it might.
So it's kind of funny, and you bring up the Mavs and the Clippers. I still think that those two teams they'll find a way to finish 7-8 or maybe in front of one of those. Minnesota's won a few games in a row now.
The Clippers are in the play-in right now.
Well, by the way, they're not just in the play-in. They had to come back from 15-16 down against Memphis yesterday without Ja Morant.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell's going on with the Clippers, but I will try to embrace it and enjoy it while I can. I didn't enjoy the fourth quarter. They gave up 51 points in the third yesterday to a no Ja Morant,
a Morantless Grizzlies,
and no Dylan Brooks because he got a 16 technical. The Lakers stuff. It's kind of funny. I'm not as shocked that they're sitting here. When Bron went out, we obviously all knew, okay, that go get one of those top 6 spots, the likelihood of that happening was probably done. I think what has stood out to me, by the way, still no D'Angelo and still no idea when D'Angelo's coming back. That's still such a key piece.
That's kind of worrisome.
That is worrisome. I agree with you. You know, it was about a week ago he was, I think, questionable going into one of these games coming up against I think it was against Dallas or after the Dallas game. 2 things happened over the weekend. They split the games against Minnesota and the Golden State Warriors. One thing was consistent, one thing wasn't. I'll tell you why. They won one of those games, they lost one of those games, and probably determines where the Lakers are going to be in the standings just based off of that. We'll do all that coming up next. Travis and Sliwa Show, 7.
All right, we're reminding you that Pickleball Madness, or March Pickleball Madness, is coming up on March 18th at Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. It's free for all non-participants, and there's a million things to do, Al.
All right, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come out, hang out. We do these events every time we do them. We love having listeners there. We got our Pop-A-Shot Challenge. We got a beer garden going on. So we got everything going on. Don't forget that day.
Games for the kids. Bring the kids on out. It'll be a great time. You'll watch me and Al just wipe the floor with everybody because we're pickleball experts.
We'll be out in the first round.
A good job of getting on the basketball, get everybody out of the way, and letting him win the matchup. That's good defense.
Lamb not drafted after his college career at Vermont. Has been a big surprise. Davis inside. Layup is good. Troy Brown until the final minutes. So it can take some time off if you have that lead. Call it walking the dog. Schroeder into Davis. Flips it up and in. Anthony Davis, 35 points. Davis 4 to shoot. Guarded by Draymond Green. Makes the drive. Gets inside. It's good. Anthony Davis, another big bucket.
Give Anthony Davis a lot of credit. Started off hot and continued all game long.
Very important win for the Lakers. As Anthony Davis dominant with 39 points. Without LeBron James, without D'Angelo Russell, they win the season series 3-1.
and Sliwa, your Monday. Happy Monday. Wow, Travis's description of that burrito that he had in San Diego earlier in the show, it's so on brand, it almost hurts. Meanwhile, you know what is also on brand on a Monday? A little edition of Ask Slee. That's coming up around 10:45 this hour, right here on Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
You have Twitter open in front of you right now, Al? You should retweet that Ohtani one-need home run. Hey, for those of you that haven't seen it yet this morning, you need to go find it. I'll try to tweet it out, too, that Ohtani hit a home run off one knee.
Just ridiculous.
In WBC,
Casual.
practice games, practice, whatever it is.
It's
ridiculous.
And then just kind of started trotting around the bases like, what's the big deal, guys? Why are you guys making a big deal out of this?
Why is Chris saying that me doing what I did this weekend is on brand? I am my own brand. I'm a father. I'm a dad. I like to do fun things, but I also am very much in my adult lane. Like, I can't, if I were, not that I would want to be 30 with a kid in college, that would be aggressive. But like at 30, you can maybe kind of pull it off. I'm 51 years old. I would have stuck out like a sore thumb. I can't do that.
No, you're fine. You did the game plan of going to the hotel, grabbing a drink, waking up in the morning, going to get a breakfast burrito. That fits.
You guys talking more
better.
about the burrito is the most on-brand thing about it all, though. It's like, we had
the
all
burrito
of
is
that
very
but no,
important.
the burrito,
It's very,
the taco
very
stand.
important. The burrito is very important.
So so here's the text that was coming to Kelly, right? Or actually Snapchat. And it says, is Trav coming to, I'm not going to give up the fraternity house because I don't want to put anybody in trouble.
Okay.
And it says, or out at all because it would be lit.
Sure.
Emily, would it be lit if I showed up at a fraternity house on a Saturday night?
So back in college, it was kind of fun to have fun parents come out.
But that's not my deal. I'm not the fun parent.
I mean, clearly,
But that might even make it. But that might even make it. The fact that you don't want to go, I think they would have I think they'd have a good time with that.
Especially if you had ESPN on too, like, oh, bro, works for ESPN.
No, not doing that. What if because today
You should walk in with the podcast, just like, do you guys have this on your
have
phone?
them play on the speaker.
I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my outfit for today. But I have on a pair of khakis, a golf shirt, and a blue V-neck sweater. Like roll into a fraternity party dressed like that.
If that's not San Diego State brand at midnight on a Saturday, I don't know what it is.
You're an Aztec. I can't speak to this.
Yeah.
But when did people stop showering? When does that become like the standard go out uniform for males in college? Like every guy, the girls look nice. They were dressed, their hair done, makeup on, like clean clothes. You know, the girls look like they were getting ready to go interact with other people.
Yeah.
The boys look like they'd fallen asleep in a dumpster and woke up and went to the basketball game.
They just don't care. That's like, that's what makes them so cool. Is like they don't even put
Probably
deodorant on.
did wake up at a dumpster.
But it dude, that flannel shirt you have on hasn't been through the washing machine in 6 weeks.
The only thing I could think of is if the game's on it was tip off at 7, something like that.
7.
The only thing I can think of is they probably started going at it around noon, right? Started drinking, doing their thing.
Some of that for sure, but
and
it wasn't.
And then just stumbled into.
It wasn't
VAR
drunken behavior. It was slovenly behavior. It's just dirtiness. It's just
every
most college
student.
students.
Yeah, every student that you walked by, you should say, "Clean yourself up."
They give you a little beer stamp on your hand. I'm like, I have a gray beard. I feel like I'm safe. I feel like I've got a chance to do this. But Viejas Arena, by the way, Slee, 9 out of 10. And they would have got a 10 had that dog not been allowed in the arena.
The dog that stuck out to you.
Was it one
because
dog
it's
or
such
multiple?
it's such a bowl, right?
Right in front of me, there was a dog, so I'm assuming there was more than one.
Those kind of arenas are perfect for college basketball.
Yeah.
It's just you feel like everybody's on top of you.
Yeah.
It's got that feel to it.
And dogs.
And dogs.
And the dog, I showed you the pic. The dog was wearing a Machado jersey.
Yeah, Machado.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you didn't like the dog. Maybe the dog was fine, and then you saw Machado, and then that bothered you.
I am a Dodger fan, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of like having an aversion to the Padres, just generally speaking. It had nothing to the dog. It could have had a Steve Garvey jersey on, and I would have get your damn dog out of here. It's a basketball game. Like this wasn't like a blind person that needed the dog to get to their seat. He just had the dog in a baby Bjorn. Hey, let's go Aztecs. Hey, why do you have a dog? Stop.
I don't know why there's a dog there. I didn't know that arena has dogs.
Dog laid.
I've never
on
seen a dog
where you
at that arena.
Put your feet.
Sure.
And on a
Emotional
little
support
blanket.
dog. People need emotional support at all times.
The dog
had a seat. The dog actually had his own seat.
Did you play pickleball this weekend?
Okay, so I don't know what to make of this. We played Thursday, Berg, Jorge, AK, we played on Thursday. So then I decided, Friday I already knew Lakers had a game, I'm not going to play. But I'm like, maybe on Saturday I'm going to play. I did not play, just so you know. I did not do that. But you know what I did do, looking out for us, because we're going to play on Thursday, and we already got our 4 that we're going to be playing with. I drove by the pickleball courts Friday after the show to see, like, all right, hey, is it busy? Is it not busy? Because at 4:30, 4:45 when we went, it was freaking stacked. It was jammed. So I drove by, but I was kind of telling myself, I'm like, are you really driving by a pickleball court? Like, are you really, like, it just kind of, yeah, it was scouting. Like, it looked kind of funny. But the courts, there were people there, but definitely nothing like it's going to be at 4:45, so we'll be good to go.
All right, so Slee and I and some others here at 710, we're going to have a little practice session coming up on Thursday because we've got our inaugural Pickleball Madness tournament coming up March 18th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is the Agape Pickleball Center in Fountain Valley. It's there at Miles Square Park. If you want to come out and watch, reserved seating is available. You can register for that at ESPNLA.com. Of course, it's open to everybody, so come on out, hang out, press the flesh, get to know everybody, maybe have a beer, just kind of chit-chat a little bit along the way. Thanks to Michelob Ultra, Bud Light Seltzer, and Pizza Hut. And there will be TVs to watch your college basketball games. There's Pop-A-Shot. There's pickleball demos and lessons. There's a kid zone, so bring your kids. Don't feel like, I got to watch kids. Bring them with you. Beer garden, complimentary food and drinks. There's a DJ. There's entertainment, prizes, giveaways, 360 photo booth, and lots more. So come on out with us. March 18th, we start at 10 a.m., Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley.
Okay, so we are talking about this. So Lakers sitting in 10th, sort of in 10th, whatever the case is. 2 things happened on Friday and on Sunday. One was consistent. The other one is kind of the difference. And I think this is going to actually determine where the Lakers are the rest of the way. Friday night, AD at 38. So it's not like AD had a bad game on Friday night.
Right.
Sunday afternoon, AD at 39. It's not like AD had a bad game. He's kind of unstoppable in both those games. The difference is, between those 2 games, I think you and I have talked a little bit about this. Without Bron, without D'Angelo, even if AD has amazing nights, it's still not going to determine the game. So I use Friday as a good example. They had 3 guys scoring double figures on Friday. Yesterday they had, I want to say, 6 guys scoring double figures. The difference right now for the Lakers in both of those games is Austin Reeves going to have a good game or is he not? Is Dennis Schroeder going to have a good game or is he not? Is Troy Brown going to hit some open shots? Is Beasley, Vanderbilt, kind of go down the list? That's kind of the difference. So I think that the Lakers getting the win on yesterday, I thought they just needed to split the weekend, however you got it. I'd have thought they would beat Minnesota and not beat Golden State, but it went in reverse. They had to split the weekend. So they did it. They accomplished it. But that really, truly is the difference. For as much heat as Anthony Davis gets, sounds good. It's okay. Give AD as much heat as possible. It has less to do with what he does on the court. It has more to do if he's available or if he's not available. But AD was there for both of those games over the weekend. But that's not always going to tell the story of whether the Lakers are going to win that game or not. AD can go off tomorrow and have 45 and 15. It's not a guarantee they win if he does that. It's going to depend on what everybody else does.
He was terrific yesterday. Like, there's no qualifier. He was terrific. I thought, especially in the fourth quarter last night or yesterday afternoon, the way he passed the ball, I thought was brilliant. Mm-hmm. He got a couple of where you could tell the Warriors were crashing on him. They were going to double, if not triple him at some points. And he found the open guy every time for easy buckets. I thought he was great. He made shots. He was in the paint. He was physical. Like, he was really, really good. Yeah. And I have nothing to add to it other than that. And then I hope it happens again tomorrow. That's where I am with AD. Let's do it again. Cross my fingers and hope that it happens. I did think that Friday, and not necessarily the game that they lost to Minnesota, which, you know, they're going to lose some games. I thought that Darvin's reaction after the game was interesting because that's the first time really all season long.
Called him out?
Yeah. And no, there was no ambiguity. It was very clearly, you guys didn't play hard. He used the word urgency over and over and over again. He talked about, this is what we do for a living. This is not, digging ditches, which is a cliche that we've heard, but this was a different lane for Darvin Ham to be in. It's the home stretch, right? He's really trying to get his guys to come out here. How many games do they have left? 17?
17 now.
Yeah, so 17 games left. There is no more, you're going to have a bad night or something. It's like, no, we got to bring it every single night. He challenged him. Minnesota had their hand in our chest, and all of those pieces of language that are, dude, you cannot just you're not good enough. We're not good enough. We don't have enough cushion. We can't just kind of have a night where we're going to just, tonight's not the night. You got to fight for this. They come out a couple of nights later, yesterday afternoon against Golden State, and it wasn't totally different, but it was different. They played a better team, played well, did a pretty good job against Steph. But
there's something to what you said.
You're gonna have to do it again. It's not just I'm gonna smack you at one time because you did something I don't like. He's gonna have to do it a lot over the course of these last 17 games because the margin of error is virtually zero.
And what I think the message he was trying to make on Friday after the game was, listen, it's not just we have to play a good game. Minnesota has something to play for. Golden State has something to play for. Memphis has something to play for tomorrow. They're trying to hold off the Sacramento Kings for number 2. This weekend, Toronto is trying to stay in that top 10. New York has won 9 or 10 games in a row, won at Boston yesterday. That's coming up a week from yesterday on Sunday. I think the point he was trying to make is you can't just teams also have something to play for as well. It's not like they're hanging out and, that sense of urgency only comes from one side of it. Every team that plays the Lakers has something to play for. That's just kind of the way the schedule has lined up. These are the teams that they have in front of them. I thought yesterday was interesting because they went up 20.
Yeah.
And they went up 32-12. Okay? And then they went through this really long stretch where they just couldn't hit a bucket. And it's the Warriors. Warriors are going to start hitting
the
threes.
Same thing, too. The Warriors fall behind a lot frequently.
They did that in that 5-game winning streak. They were falling behind in all those games. By the way, what's so crazy? Do you know what their record is on the road?
It's terrible. It's like 7-15 or something crazy.
I think
like
it's
that.
7-24.
Yeah, it's
something
bad.
like that. Okay,
They're a bad road team.
But by the way, that's just so off-brand for the Warriors or a championship type of team. But Lakers went up 20. Warriors came all the way back. By halftime, it's a 1-point game. Lakers have a 1-point lead. The one kind of this doesn't happen often, and I was just waiting for the Warriors to Warriors are going to go up by 5, and they're going to go up by 8. Like I was just waiting for that. The Lakers never gave the lead up.
No, they didn't.
So I think early on in the game,
every time they needed a big shot, they got it.
They got it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those. It was weird where even at the end where Clay hits a big 3, Steph hits a big 3. Now they got it down to 2. Then they came back and still hit some big shots.
When Clay hit that corner 3, when DiVincenzo drove to the basket, and you felt like he was going to go up and try to get a lay-in, maybe get an and one.
Sets up Clay.
And he kicks it, and Clay Thompson wide open in the corner. He's not going to miss that one very often, and he didn't. That was when you're like, uh-oh.
Yep.
And they didn't. They kept it together. They fought hard. Anthony Davis was great. And it's just, I've touched the stove too many times, right? I touched it too many times. Like, okay, this is it. That was the moment that's like, okay, good win. Nicely done. Go do it again against Memphis.
But I think that's the right. I think watching Lakers basketball all season long, unless everyone was healthy, I think that's the right thing to take. That what you just said about, I'm not going to walk in tomorrow thinking Lakers are going to dominate Memphis. Why would I think that? Even without Ja Morant. Yeah, well, I think each one of these games is like that.
We'll talk about Ja and why he's not going to be there. That's a bizarre one as well. But not before we do a little Ask Slee. 877-710-ESPN if you want to do it on the phone. 877-710-3776. Ask Slee coming up next.
All right, I'm talking to all 710 listeners right now. Let's start off with this. March 18th, it's a Saturday afternoon. Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. That is where I am about to teach everybody a little bit about pickleball. And the reason is because you see my father here is a world champion pickleball player. And while I have never played pickleball, not one time in my entire life, I already got my own racket, which means I'm about to kick some you-know-what. So come on out and support. Be there. We'll all watch college ball games together, and we are going to win.
Yes, it is time for a Monday edition of Ask Slee. Ask Slee is presented by our friends at Harrah's Resort SoCal. Find your funner state of mind with a visit to Harrah's Resort SoCal, voted best resort in funner California. From dining to unwinding, you'll find fun around every corner. Learn more at harrahssocal.com. Let's do it for a Monday Ask Slee right now.
877-710-ESPN. One more time, 877-710-3776. If you want to do it on the phone like Alex in Torrance did. Alex, hashtag Ask Slee. What do you got?
Happy Monday, guys.
Happy Monday.
Thank you. Over the weekend, I went to a broomball birthday party. I didn't even think broomball still existed. So my question is, have you guys ever done broomball, and is there anything more dangerous than broomball on an ice rink?
Alex, thanks for calling in.
Do you know what broomball is?
No, I do not.
Okay, so broomball is where you go on a hockey rink, okay, ice, and you play hockey, only you are not on skates. You're using a broom instead of a hockey stick, and everybody's just kind of running around trying to whack the ball or puck with a broom. And people are slipping and falling and
I'm breaking my neck. Okay.
So his question, is there anything more dangerous than broomball on a hockey rink?
I don't think I could think of anything. I'm trying to think what would be from some of the stuff, the stupid stuff we used to. No, that sounds like the most dangerous thing. That sounds like by far the most dangerous thing. Anything with ice is the most dangerous thing.
Emily, have you played broomball?
Yes, I have. So my sorority every year, one of the welcoming things for the girls is to play broomball, and it gets really intense. Like people get knocked over. I had one girl tore her ACL one year. That was bad.
And that's not good.
And then when I was in middle school, we were playing broomball, but I guess it's not really broomball because it was on a basketball court, so it's but you still use the same sticks. I was sitting behind this guy, and he came back, swung back, knocked me right in the head. I passed out, and was concussed at middle school. So me and broomball don't really mesh.
One of my teammates in high school, his older brother was a very, very good high school baseball player getting ready for the season, broke his ankle playing broomball right before the season started. So, not great. Maybe look, the only thing more dangerous than broomball is probably hockey, because you're going 40 miles an hour on the skates. That seems a little more dangerous, but it's a thing for sure.
If they decide, you know what, this is a great idea. This year we're doing pickleball. Next year we're doing broomball. 14 of our on-air and producers will be out with an injury.
Don't give anybody any ideas, Al. This is from Dan Peralta. Hashtag Ask Lee. Worst fit, Trav at a college party, Westbrook on an NBA team, or Derek Carr with $100 million?
Berg tried coming in here and telling us that we were too hard on Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr making $100 million. Listen, if you walked into that fraternity house on Saturday night and it's more of a joke, and I know how every 19 to 22-year-old is going to think of it and be like, awesome, get this guy a beer. That's what they're going to do, okay? Russ on an NBA team, not a good fit right now. It's not the best fit. But why does the Derek Carr of it all getting $100 million guaranteed? Why does that one feel the most, the worst of all the
Let
fits?
me try to talk you out of it. I think I agree with you, but is it just simply that's the price tag that we haven't gotten used to the fact that $100 million is actually not as bad as we think it is?
Well, you said it. You said, listen, $25 million a year for a average quarterback in the NFL is kind of the going rate.
Average player at an average price. It just seems when you say $100 million, you're like, what?
Yes.
Inflation.
150, 100 of it is guaranteed. Maybe that's why. It's just those numbers.
David writes, if time is money, is an ATM a time machine? Hashtag Ask Lee.
If time is money, is an ATM a time machine? I think it is. It kind of holds... remember back in the day where the only way you could get your money, I mean, for the most part, right? Before the ATMs, Monday through Friday. You're going into the bank.
Or, you might not even be old enough to remember this one. The other way?
Cashing a check.
In the grocery store.
Right.
You'd go to that little desk, that customer service desk at the grocery store, and they'd cash your check.
Your money order or something like that, right? Whatever some of that stuff was. So in a sense, it is now it's instant, right? Like you could get your money right. But I guess it's a little bit of a time machine.
Yeah, well, and it can buy you a good time, right? Or buy you a really bad time if you spend it inappropriately. But yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. John, I'm in Orlando, and many of my colleagues are in the same hotel. Do I Uber to the nearest CVS for a Modelo 30-pack and drink in my room, or do I risk running into them at one of the hotel bars? Hashtag Ask Slee.
I'm probably just going to the hotel bar. I'm not gonna go too far. I'm gonna go down the lobby. I'm gonna have, if I need to, like to go get that many Modelos. I understand you can go sit in your room. I'm probably gonna have a stiff one right out the gate. Just have a bourbon or something along those lines, and then let me get my beer and I'll go up to the room.
It really depends, right? Like. For instance, I had.
Do you hate your coworkers? I guess
not
is one.
Hate, but it just I'm going to be with him all day long. Presumably he's at a conference, right? They're somewhere off, and we're going to be in meetings and breakout groups and all this stuff. Probably going to have some meals together as well. Wouldn't mind just chilling
Having
out
a little
by myself and
yeah.
kind of relaxing. I went to the hotel bar on Saturday night after Kelly went to her party and ditched me. Not exactly. And I had a great time. Nobody there knew who I was. Nobody was by me. Sat down, had one very, very mediocre, old-fashioned watch TV in the bar for a little while and called it a night.
Went up to the room.
It was great, but had somebody bellied up. So what do you think's going on with those the sales reports? I'm like, I don't really want to do this right now. Leave me alone.
If you're drunk enough, you'll give your opinion on the sales report.
Probably should have. You can have somebody do one of the two things for the rest of your life: pump every tank of gas for you, or answer every phone call. It's an easy one for me.
Answer every phone call.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
Pumping the gas, not that big of a deal. Pumping the gas once a week. Get some fresh air while you
inhale
the
diesel fumes.
Yep, while you inhale the fumes. Somebody answering your call is a little baller. That's kind of baller.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's a pretty good explanation.
This is Rick.
If you're doing it, this is Rick from Mr. Sliwa. What can I do for you? Not bad. But I don't answer. I don't get any phone calls.
It's just Spectrum. He hasn't paid his bill in a while.
I was going to say, 9 out of 10 phone calls you don't want to answer at all.
Well, we were doing this. I forgot when we had this conversation. It was recently about leaving voicemails, not leaving voicemails, all that stuff. Then you never have to read another voice. You never have to listen to another voicemail. Somebody's there to answer the phone for you.
Let's go back to the phones. It is Clinton in Venice. Hashtag Ask Slee. What's going on?
What's up, guys? Long time, first time. Just want to say I'm glad you made it back safely, Trav, from your college thing. I was just asking because I heard you guys are playing a lot of pickleball, and, some guys have been known to miss practices.
Yep.
Was wondering if you might want to tell the listeners where you guys are going to be on Thursday in case they want to, come out and maybe join and show off their athletic prowess on the pickleball court. Just a question for you guys.
Al?
I don't know if I can give Clinton our location. Taylor's already shaking his head. I think this is... We got 4 right now, Clinton. I mean, what are we supposed to do here?
Wow.
Okay.
No, but here's the truth. Here's the truth. We actually have 4.
Up. All 4 of us will be there.
Okay, first of all right, let me explain something. It was closer, okay? But anyway, my point is that I want to play pickleball with you guys because I need to gauge how good everybody else actually is. It's hard to tell from the video. You need to be able to out there on the court. So that's my ask, please.
All right, Clint, we appreciate it. Listen, here's the deal, and I'm not kidding here. What do we do, Trav? We got Bert coming. We got Ron coming.
Mm-hmm.
You said, hey, let's find a 4th so we can play together. I got it done over the weekend.
Yeah, no, you took care of business, and the best part is you booked people that will show up. They said they'll be there on a Thursday, and they're going to be there on a Thursday. It's nice. It's got to fill you with a nice sense of satisfaction knowing that
it all comes around.
One more quick late edition here.
Around.
This is from Chris, the Trav and Slee community. Great choice here. SDSU frat party circa 1998. Slee, you are 18, and Trav is the 26-year-old who graduated 4 years ago but still, quote, raging. Trav asked you to hold his legs for a keg stand. You holding or walking away saying, this guy's a joke, so he could never hear you?
First off, I was 15, so I don't think I'm...
snuck in.
I wish that was the case. I'm holding your legs. That's all good. It's all good. Now, if you're an idiot there, like if you're the one that's I don't know, trying to cause issues or cause problems, but if you're all good, no issues, no problem, I'll help hold the leg. Get that freaking beer stand in.
It's funny. I always went the other way. Like when in high school, you'd see somebody that graduated 2 or 3 years before. You're like, what's that guy doing here? This is weird. And in college too, it's, dude, don't you have a job? Like, why are you still here? Especially if it was
This
frequent.
is if you know the person?
Regardless. Like, if I'm 21 at a college party and I see somebody that's 27 and I see him regularly, it's like, dude, don't you have something better to do? Like, I thought the whole idea was to get a job and go live your life.
Hey, can you help me rent a car? Just trying to see what can I use this person for.
It's acceptable during the alumni weekend.
That's different. But if you're the oldest guy at a party regularly, you need to find new parties. That's just a good rule of thumb. Lakers have the Grizz on Tuesday night. They will play against them without Ja Morant. And the reason Ja won't be there is pretty bizarre and a little concerning. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 7.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
First fall of the day. Oh, it's on camera.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
is Travis and Sliwa on your Monday. What did you get into over the weekend? Was it as exciting as Travis's description of a burrito he had down in San Diego?
Get through there, get a breakfast burrito the size of a shoebox.
Come on, bro.
Okay, it was.
Come on, man.
It was to the point where I couldn't hold it in one hand because it would flop over. That's how much stuff was in it. Like you had to hold it right in the middle, or else the top would tip over like a Jenga
get
tower.
Out of your car, set it up on top of the car.
It was too big to eat with one hand and drive.
That's what you come to expect from us. LA Sports Talk and Burrito Talk, yo. Let's get back to the fun. Travis and Sliwa, your Monday continues right now.
Very crispy potatoes, salsa verde, bacon, the perfect amount of cheese, just a little bit so it kind of binds it all together.
You said 11 eggs you thought were in there.
No cap,
Yeah.
at least 6. No, hand to God, at least 6. I ate
They're not messing
2/3 of
around.
it, and I'm like, yeah, that's more than enough. That was at least 3, if not 4 eggs. It was pretty big.
I like you reading any of these. Francis in Glendale says, dude, does he coach here? That's from one of the frat brothers. Okay. That's an interesting
I think
one.
I'm older than the coach.
Capitano Matt says, Trav walks into a frat party, frat boy. Hey, somebody's Uber driver is here.
I would say cop, honestly.
Yeah,
That'd be my
Cop
one.
is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
Cop. Yeah, but
No,
not the
cop.
cool one.
Cop is perfect.
Yeah. No, I'm too fat for a cop, right? Like a cop would be.
I don't know. You could be a
I
detective.
think you're good.
I could be a detective. You're right.
I think
I
you're
take it
good.
back.
No, I think you're good.
I take it back.
Yeah.
I could be like I could be homicide, right? I could be there.
Yeah.
Look, just kind of let myself go. Yeah, look, I had my Kool-Aid Man shirt on. Would have been quite a night. Quite a night. It's pretty good. Your Aztecs are not great, Slee, and they're in the top 20. That's
Is that not college basketball?
yes,
Just in a nutshell.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It was a weird
Win a
deal.
tournament game, please.
Other than a couple
By the way,
of
I was just going to
no.
say, Yates. What's he want us to do with that?
I don't know. I mean, he wants
to have fun to play
He wants
with
to
you
come
guys.
I
play.
know, but we can't have an odd number.
Yes,
You
you
just
could.
can't.
He could
no.
go and play with other people, or he could watch you guys. He could be a sub.
I like
in.
this idea where the 4 of us are on one court and he's on the other side of the park playing with 3 strangers. That's
That's why.
funny.
That's why the whole number of 3 was going to be a problem last Thursday. We want to play. You're trying to get the crew together.
Yes.
Right. So what am I supposed to do with 5?
Yes.
So I don't know what to do.
He's just going to bail again. There's a better opportunity. He's just going to.
What we'll do is we'll say, sure, come on
Hey,
out
Al,
and join
yep.
us, and then I'll shoot Mace a text.
Kaplan
and say,
just told me that there's a court out in La Jolla.
oh, dude, I got to show you this. One of our listeners, Josh Bentram, an old friend of mine, just sent us a logo for our team. You ready for this? How about that? Thick Van 3XL.
That's good. Yeah, that's
What do
good.
you think, guys? I'll tweet that out here in a second. I don't know. Do you have like a T-shirt guy, Slee, that could get that made in a hurry?
I don't, but I'm sure we can find one.
It's a pickleball background. It's Laker colors.
That's good.
That's pretty
that's
darn good. That's pretty darn good. John Morant's not going to play. He didn't play last night against the Clippers. He's not going to play tomorrow night against the Lakers. The Grizz are basically saying there's no timetable for his return. A couple of days ago, they said he was going to miss at least a couple of games after a video of him at a club. He was on dance floor with a gun.
Instagram live video.
Yep. This is on the heels of allegations. Let's make it clear that they are allegations. Allegations of him getting into a fight with a 17-year-old during a pickup game. More allegations of at least a member of his group pointing a laser-sighted weapon at the
Against the Pacers
Indiana
or something
team
like that.
bus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gun stuff. There's violent stuff that is floating around him, and the Grizzlies are like, we're going to try to get ahead of this, and we're going to try to help him at a time that he needs some help. It's really the timing of all of this is bizarre because John Morant is just on the precipice of becoming the face of the league. He's incredibly popular with young NBA fans. He's a terrific player. He's got a point of view, a personality.
He's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, but he kind of it's a good vibe, right? Like his team is kind of feisty, and he's kind of feisty.
They run their mouth.
They
It's
chirp
okay.
for sure. This is all really good, and then you got this off-court stuff, and you can feel everybody going, dude, don't go down this road. This is bad for everybody. Loses if you go down this road. And the Grizz are trying to get it squared away, but what are you going to do in a week? How do you get something like this squared away in a week? It just doesn't feel realistic.
Yeah, I don't think you do. I don't think, I read the statement yesterday. That statement is a strategic statement. It's not like I don't think he was sitting there at the hotel room writing this out, saying to himself, this has come from, I'm sure he's got his, it's unfortunate. Let's just put it that way. You guys just mentioned something I think was key. Ja Morant, when I think of Ja Morant, I think of, man, he's such an exciting basketball player. Man, this guy could be potentially the face of the NBA in the next couple of years. And you look at all the young players, Zion, Luka, Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous. Like, you think of these young faces, you're like, this is the future of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Ja's one of those players. I don't think anything changes in a week. So I whether he comes back in a week or he comes back in a month, I don't have the answer to that.
He's not going to be gone a month. I mean, that's not going to happen.
I don't disagree with that.
I'm sure
I don't
that
disagree
the
with that.
Grizzlies are worried about him as a person, as a human being, and for his safety and his well-being, and all of those things come along with it. They're probably more worried about, hey, he's not only our best player, he's one of the best players, and we need him out on the court.
Number 2 team in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
No one's questioning that by any stretch. But nothing is going to change right away. So I think for me, a player like this, Michael actually had an interesting suggestion yesterday. We do our top NBA stories in the pregame show. This obviously is the top NBA story. Sure. And he said that if someone like Michael Thompson reached out to Ja Morant, he doesn't think anything's going to happen. Mm-hmm. What's this old head that wants to tell me? Yeah, he said that he thought there was one player that he thinks that's in the league right now that could hopefully talk to him and actually have an impact on him. He said Braun, okay? And I think his thought process was, who's a player that he would respect? LeBron could kind of tell a little bit of his story. Look, when I was your age, this is what I was doing when I was your age. Sure. I was trying to have people around me that I knew. LeBron is not just a basketball player. LeBron is an empire, right? Like LeBron
He's the CEO of a massive corporation.
That's exactly what he is. And a player like that he has the respect of, that's still in the league, that you've seen, wow, this guy at 17 was this player, look what he is today. I thought that was interesting, but I don't know who's going to tell him something unless Ja Morant decides, okay, I got a few things that just went down in my life over the last couple of months. Let me learn from these and never look back again.
You hope that's what it is.
Yep.
You hope it's a temporary loss of his path, right? That I made some really bad decisions and it's not going to happen again. I learned from it to keep it moving. The other one is, this is the beginning of the wrong path. Mm-hmm. This is the beginning of something that leads to diminished play, to hit suspensions, to surrounding yourself with people that do not have your best interest in mind, and ultimately, and again, he's a supreme talent, but ultimately could be detrimental to the team that you play for. Look, he's going to be back sooner than later. He's going to go through the playoffs and all these other things. But if we're getting into a point where the Grizzlies don't know if this guy's going to do something crazy off the court or not, that's bad for business. That's bad for them. Look, the Lakers are catching a huge break getting to play them tomorrow night without him. The reason they lost to him last week is because he went for 28 and a quarter. If he only go, if he doesn't do that, the Lakers probably win that game, and we're having a very different conversation. This is affecting the team, the league. I would imagine, as good as Memphis has been this year, the very last thing they want, because this is not a far-fetched scenario. Memphis finishes second, the Lakers somehow get that 7th spot, and now you got to play them with LeBron James, with Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, all the thing. You really want that? I don't know, maybe not. And the reason that they might be in is because you had to go do whatever it is that you've been accused of doing.
Sure.
It's bad for business in just a strictly basketball thing, and it brings up a whole new set of questions. I don't know, LeBron James, anybody pick up the phone, try to help the kid, great. But it's one of those, if that's what he's into, I don't know if a conversation's going to really change that sort of thing.
It's not the first time he's been in the news, because this has all kind of come in the last, you could say.
And the Grizzlies have had a bunch of stuff. Just kind of, they're obnoxious. Now, we could argue whether or not that's good or bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me so much, but they're kind of that team.
Oh, no, they're chirping all the time.
They chirp all the time.
Yep. Dylan Brooks just got his 16th technical foul. He was suspended for a game. He's running his mouth. There's stories about him talking about Draymond. Well, Draymond was in. They've had storylines around them. I think the only thing I just look at, and this is don't tell me, show me. So whatever Ja Morant says, I don't really pay any attention to what he says right now. I think just you're going to find out as this season progresses or as his career progresses, are we going to have, man, there's another thing with Ja Morant.
You know, it's the timing of it, too, Al. Never mind the basketball. Like, Nike is just – they're doing a Ja Morant signature shoe. They don't just give that to anybody.
Yeah.
One of the sports drink companies – I forget which one it is, but one of the sports drink companies –
Powerade.
Powerade, thank you. Just gave him
Crystal Clear
a
Pepsi.
huge, huge contract to be the face of that brand. And then you turn around and it's like, this is our opening act to our brand ambassador? There's a reason LeBron James is in every commercial. There's a reason Steph Curry and Giannis are in every commercial. It's because they're not on a dance floor waving a gun around. They're not. No, hell no. I'm not doing. I want to go sell Sprite. I want to go sell, the CarMax, Subway. These are ginormous brands that they understand that part of the reason they get in, not just because I'm a great player, but because I don't do crazy stuff. And Ja's doing way too many crazy things.
Hopefully he realizes that, what's at stake in this entire thing. I mean, listen, I know you do. How often do you do Insta Live? How often do you go?
A few times an hour.
A few times an hour, right? Hopefully he realizes that there's so much at stake here, right? For his own personal career, and like you just said, outside of basketball, there's certain players that have their own type of brand that they're building. He is he could be a very, very lucrative brand, the Ja Morant brand, and the only thing you could do to screw it up is...
And a little bit of, that guy's kind of dangerous, is fine. Too much of it, it's like, we can't do business with you.
Yeah.
A little bit of unpredictability, like, hey, he's got an edge, he's got credibility, whatever it is. Okay. But then there's you got in a fight with a 17-year-old? I don't know, man. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. We got some phone calls, and we'll get into that coming up in just a little bit. Another one of the Rams' big names, maybe down the road. He's asking out. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 7. Scary moment in spring training out in Florida. Former Dodger and one of the most popular Dodgers of my entire lifetime, Justin Turner, just got hit in the face with a pitch against the Detroit Tigers. Very, very scary. He obviously left the game. He looked to be pretty bloodied.
Yeah, it could be something with his nose or eyes, something in there.
Yeah, tough. And, I'm still bummed that he's gone. I really would have liked to have found a way for him to stay. Maybe it was the right baseball decision. Time will tell on that. But Justin Turner, other than Clayton Kershaw over the last 10 years, was the Dodgers, and that was really tough to see.
Yeah, not good seeing that video either.
No, okay, I don't even want to say this for fear of bringing up bad mood. I'm just shocked it doesn't happen more frequently. Guys throw so hard, right? And to be a major league hitter, you have to be starting before they've even let go of the ball. You have to be releasing and ready to hit every single pitch.
To get out of the way you're talking about,
to start to try to hit, and then at the last second say, I got to get the hell out of here. This is coming. I don't know how anybody would ever do that. Guys throwing 98 miles an hour all over the place. It's really scary.
That's what I never understand, too, when somebody is – this is old school baseball, but I still think it happens today. When somebody's throwing at a guy and it gets kind of up towards the numbers, I'm like, what? How is that? How is that possible to be okay that somebody takes a freaking baseball and throws towards your – and then a pitcher gets angry when somebody hits one out and he stares at it for 2 seconds?
Yeah, you're not wrong, Al. I guess if I'm putting myself in meathead baseball player mode, which I try to stay out of that, that's not my jam. Nobody ever throws at a guy's head on purpose. You're a lunatic if you do.
It just sails or what?
Guys will throw at people on purpose, but never kind of above the shoulders. It's usually somewhere aimed at the body or the legs or one of these things to send a message. But to your point, as good as major leaguers are, they're not that good. They're not good enough to know, I'm going to hit you up here and not miss by 6 inches and earhole somebody. It's really, really scary. So hopefully he gets better before too long. Let's try a quick phone call here. Let's go to Diamond Bar in Gilbert. Gilbert, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Gil?
Good morning, gentlemen. I always enjoy your show. I wanted to comment on the Grizzlies, and I think that behavior of chirping at the other team and all that, I don't really see that as a positive. I see that as immature and disrespectful. And, in fact, when they played the Lakers, they disrespected LeBron, which is the reason that whole Shannon Sharp thing happened. And I think it's a team-wide thing, but Ja's behavior is kind of consistent with that immaturity and disrespect towards the league, towards other teams. And if somebody who's not a yes man doesn't set him straight and make him realize he's an adult businessman, things are not going to go well for the team or for him.
Gilbert, appreciate you calling in. I will say, if there's one thing that they could use, when you got a young team that's having success, right? Any team, any sport, anytime you have a young team having success, it helps to have some veterans on your squad, right? And I think for them, for the Grizzlies,
Good point.
I think. Do you remember this? And I want to say this was Memphis, almost 100%. Remember when Andre Iguodala was traded, and he got traded to Memphis, but he never actually played for the Memphis Grizzlies. He wanted out. But let me just use that player as a perfect example. Hey, you see someone with experience, a couple of guys, mix in 2-3 different players. This isn't the best analogy, but I'm going to use it. Tatis coming up with the Padres to where they sit today of how many vets that they got there. That's helpful to a guy like Tatis.
Sure.
Whether he realizes it or doesn't, or he's going to realize it down the road. Every single player in any sport that comes out and they're that successful, it helps to have some veterans. It just does. I think maybe what Gilbert's talking about, they don't really have a player. Steven Adams is a veteran. I don't know if Steven Adams is going to be the guy sitting there pulling guys to the side. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Steven Adams.
Steven Adams probably helps a little bit, but Steven Adams isn't like Udonis Haslem, who's in the league forever and ever for the role that you're talking about, or a LeBron James, or a Steph Curry, or Klay Thompson, guys that have been around a long time to say, hey, listen, man, what the hell are you doing? That's different. I want to talk about what Gil said a little bit, because, and Gil, if I'm getting your argument wrong, forgive me, but what I was hearing was Everybody needs to chill out and be respectful. And it's okay to be abrasive. It's okay to be obnoxious. It's okay to be loud and disrespectful. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with John Morant and Dylan Brooks and the Memphis Grizzlies basically telling the rest of the Western Conference, shooting them a huge middle finger. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not back. I don't care what you've done. That Dylan Brooks is going at Draymond Green. I'm okay with that. I don't read that as disrespectful necessarily. I read it as, I'm not scared of you. I'll go straight up with you, and I'm willing to compete with you for whatever comes next. I'm going to defer to everybody that's older than me, that has more success than me. In pro sport, it doesn't really work. You got to kind of have to take it at some point, and not everybody has the personality of just, well, I'll just sit here real quietly until I can go out there and beat you, and then I'll say, oh, I guess I'm, no. They're brash, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're confrontational. That's okay. Waving a gun around and beating up 17-year-olds, not okay. Like, there's a difference between these things. And it escalated from, I'm not scared of you on the basketball court, to, what the hell are you doing with a gun at a dance floor? Like, there's a lot of ground between those things. Now, maybe the caller Gilbert's talking about 1 + 1. I just don't see it like that.
No,
there's a lot of guys that are aggressive and confrontational and flamboyant and loud and bleep you attitude-wise that don't do stuff like this.
There's not that you can't connect it.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think you can. I think, the complaints people might have about the Grizzlies prior to any of the stuff with John Morant is like what you're just saying. Well, what have they done? Why are they talking to a team like that when they haven't really accomplished anything? Okay, but that's okay. That's all right. That's the number 2 team in the West. They're young. Maybe what makes them the number 2 team in the West is because they act that way, is because they do have this just crazy confidence that people are saying, why would you have that much confidence? Well, you know what? We're 22, 23, 24 years old. Fake it till you make it. The connection of what John Morant's doing off the court has nothing to do with – you can't connect the two.
There's the Grizzly way of doing it, and then there's the Kings way of doing it. Kings are having a great season. They're pretty quiet. They're pretty buttoned up. They don't have a lot of guys that are, doing
Sabonis won't stop running his mouth.
But there's just different ways. It doesn't mean that the way the Kings are doing it is right and the way that the Grizzlies are doing it wrong, or vice versa. There's different personalities, different people.
You can also say it's annoying, but it's not
to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like it's they're doing it wrong.
And just to play off of that, somebody that's annoying to you, I know plenty of people that are saying, man, I love this. Man, that makes that Warrior-Memphis game so much more exciting because Dylan Brooks said what he said. There's also that. It adds to storylines that a lot of other sports kind of kills these storylines. They add to storylines.
You know what was fun yesterday? Devin Booker and Luka going at it. That's good. I don't need all these guys to hug each other and tell each other they love him after the end of the game.
Yeah,
I'm okay with I don't like that guy. I don't like he runs his mouth too much. Luka Doncic never stops whining. Never. He great player. He's he's super fun to watch. But after about 30 seconds of a Mavs game, you're like, dude, will you stop? Devin Booker is in that group with me, and they went at it, and I love it. I don't need this.
So next game they play each other,
yes,
they're going to probably show that clip. Luka's going to be asked about it. Devin Booker's going to be asked about it. There's your storyline.
And if there's a fight at some point, I'm okay with that. I don't want somebody to get their face caved in, but
it won't happen. It's the NBA.
I agree, but if there's this, I might throw an elbow. I may charge into it. I'm okay with this escalating.
Have a hard foul, whatever. Yeah.
Everybody needs to be on the same page. Stuff is exhausting. It's just it doesn't lead for great competition, I don't think. Allen Robinson would like to leave the Rams. Allen Robinson had 52 targets last year. Okay, he was no good. There's really no other way to put this. I think the Allen Robinson deal, Slee, is one of those type of deals that keeps NFL general managers up at night. This was a no-brainer. Allen Robinson was a better wide receiver than Robert Woods. Allen Robinson was going to thrive with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, with Cooper Kupp on the other side. This was a recipe to go kill it.
Slam dunk.
And it just didn't work. And I still haven't heard a great explanation as to why it didn't, other than, you know what? Sometimes blank doesn't work. He wants out. The Rams would like to do it, but this is on the heels of Bobby Wagner being cut. They've already said they're either going to cut Leonard Floyd or trade him. They're trying to find a way to create space with him. They're basically down to Kupp, Stafford, and Donald. Jalen Ramsey's got 1 3/4 feet out the door. What is that team going to look like next year?
No, listen, the storylines about the Rams, first off, during the season, And now the storylines when the season ended, it was first storyline, Sean McVay coming back or not, right? And then he decides that he is coming back. Since then, all the question marks are, all right, now what are they going to do with whether it's Allen Robinson or it's Jalen Ramsey? Hey, there's a good chance he's going to get traded. Every storyline around the Rams is not, hey, we just got to get back on the football field and we're going to be fine. There are so many different moving parts, which I'm okay with. Listen, when you're 5-12 on a season, I'm okay with not just sitting and doing the same thing.
Yeah, you don't run it back.
Now, but they could have convinced themselves that they technically could run it back just based off all the injuries and everything else.
Well, you didn't have to run it back, but you didn't have to run it back without all of these other guys either.
Yeah.
It's because it puts him in a really unusual spot. For the first time since Sean McVay's first season, I have no idea what the Rams are going to be next year. They could be a lot better. They could be a playoff team.
They could be 500 or not 500.
They could win 5
9
games
and 8.
again.
8 and 9.
If I said to you the Rams win 11 games, would you be shocked?
I would be surprised, but not shocked.
Right. I think that's right. But it's not out of the question. If they won 5 again, I wouldn't be shocked either.
Yeah.
They're all over the map, and the more of these top-line guys, name guys, Allen Robinson, Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey potentially, Leonard Floyd, these are top-line names. Maybe you get draft picks, maybe you get additional players, but this is going to be if the teams the last couple of years were superstar headlining guys and then a bunch of guys you don't know, this is going to be Stafford, Kupp, Donald, and nobody you know. It's a totally different squad all of a sudden. And if it gets off to a bad start, what are we doing?
But maybe they get the
Sean
most
McVay
out of...
didn't come back for a rebuild, from what I was told. He didn't come back to, just let's start from scratch and start all over again. What if they get off to a really lousy start?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're looking down the road here at USC, and then because you have your first-round draft pick, and that's a whole new sort of approach that you could take to try to get that guy on your team.
But what if you get the most out of a Tutu Atwell? What if you get the most out of a Ben Skoranek, and you're letting go of these, in Allen Robinson's case, unperforming, very expensive veterans? You're getting rid of those people, and maybe the only one that I'm worried about that they got rid of was really Bobby Wagner. Obviously, Leonard Floyd will be a hole they need to fill, but I think Bobby Wagner was the only one I was like, damn, I wish we would have kept him.
He was an all-pro.
But Allen Robinson, I think this team, it doesn't hurt him leaving.
It doesn't, but it indicates a change in philosophy.
Sure.
Because Ben Skoranek and Tutu Atwell, I've seen him play for 3 years. Nah, that's not the answer.
Right, yeah.
That the answer is somewhere else. The answer is in the draft. The answer is on someone else's team. I'm with you that Robinson was a bust for reasons that still no one has explained to me. But think about, I had the quarterback, I had the coach, I had the other guy opposite him. He's performed everywhere he's been. Why did this not work? I'm sure they're still. Well, do you? No, I don't know either. Get rid of him? Yeah, hell yeah, we don't need him. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Factor Cap coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710. All right, we're reminding you that Pickleball Madness, or March Pickleball Madness, is coming up on March 18th at Miles Square Park in Fountain Valley. It's free for all non-participants, and there's a million things to do, Al.
All right, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come out, hang out. We do these events every time we do them. We love having listeners there. We got our Pop-A-Shot Challenge. We got a beer garden going on. So we got everything going on. Don't forget that day.
Games for the kids. Bring the kids on out. It'll be a great time. You'll watch me and Al just wipe the floor with everybody because we're pickleball experts.
We'll be out in the first round.
1 p.m., and it's time for Factor Cap.
Oh, that's Cap. That's so Cap, Dad. Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back. First of all, it's not a cap. It is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey guys, so I think I've started a movement here. I got another road corn dog on Friday after I left Disneyland.
Road dog.
And it's literally never a bad idea. You have it in your bag, and then you can't eat on the bus from the Disneyland to your parking lot, but like my friend and I, there's a little bit of traffic coming out, so we sat in our car, we ate the corn dog while we waited for the traffic to dissipate.
Did you each have one?
Yes, we each had one. So we had our little road dog, a little chips with the meal, and then we got a Diet Coke. She got something else to drink. It was a great time.
Did you take a bite on the bus just to kind of live a little?
No.
You know what I mean?
Did take a bite in the line for the bus because the bus took a while, but I didn't want to be disrespectful to my other bus passengers.
Your friend, I'm assuming that's the picture you sent me?
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked very excited about the corn dog. She had just discovered the next part of her life. Like road corn dogs were a thing she did not know until that moment.
And they were massive.
Was the corn dog just like loose in your bag? And
No,
you
no,
just
no.
take it out?
No. They give you a bag when you get the stuff because it comes with like a meal. So you have 2 corn dogs, and then
Okay.
it had like some chips and stuff. I actually didn't bring a bag. I had just like a fanny pack situation. So
Maybe it's like where you're supposed to put the water bottle in your backpack, and it's just instead of a water bottle, it's a corn dog.
I would love that.
Top, there's a little.
Since we're all going in order here, I have another question.
The water bottle pocket should be lined with foil. You stick your corn dog in there so it stays nice and warm.
Do you dip it in ketchup? Do you use mustard? What
So
did
they
you
actually
get?
have this spicy honey mustard that you can get as
Ooh.
a special sauce to the side. So we have that. We put that in like the cup holder in my car and have that as the dipping thing.
Just pour it
Anyway.
into the cup holder? Or
No,
is
of course not. It comes with a little. It comes in a cup. But anyway,
Good
if anybody
question.
goes to
It's a full
Disneyland
plan
and,
here.
and has corn dogs, road corn dogs, please tag me in them because that would make me happy. All right, so Mike McDaniels was caught at the Combine on the Jumbotron, and he saw himself, and he was like, "Oh, shoot, that's me." So it's always cool to see yourself on the Jumbotron. Travis, Factor Cap.
Yeah, fact, 100%. Like when I'm at SoFi or whatever, and the ad for the app came up this season, and I was the one doing it, or the year before Slee, when the Trav and Slee show
Humble brag.
would come up. It's incredibly cool. When I worked for the Angels, they would have a little thing for the station I was working for that would play before. It never got old. Even when we went to the NASCAR event, right, and we parked a little bit down the road on Fig, and we're walking up to the Coliseum. We're walking past whatever Bank California Stadium is called now, and they got the marquees up
BMO.
there. And the little ad for our show flipped up when I was with all of my buddies, and they're like, "Oh, it's awesome!" Yeah, it's very, very cool. I am cynical and jaded about a lot of things, but not about that. Always cool.
Berg?
I'm actually surprised that that's the way you went with that.
Yeah.
But no, it is fact. It's very cool to see it. When I was at the Rams Combine with Jorge a couple of weeks ago, my daughter got on the infinity board, and she was having a blast.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Just loved every second of it. And we actually took a video of it. Carlo has it. Mason's not listening, so it's fine. He goes, and she says at the end, "Hey, Mace, I got on the infinity more than you did all year."
Hey.
Awesome.
That was
All right,
great.
Al?
Fact, I like watching, all the games, right? You're at every Rams game. I'm at every Laker game. And just seeing people's reaction on the Jumbotron is funny. Because you might have one person that's very excited. You have the other person that was standing up and now sits down. Is like, I did not know that I was going to get on there. I think just seeing the reaction of people. They do the dance cam or something like that. And somebody's dancing. You're like, what the hell are they doing? The other person that's dancing, like, that's the perfect dance for that song.
Or like a little kid gets on it, and they
Whatever
they get
it is,
super
right?
excited.
And the crowd yesterday, the fan of the game, was probably like a 9-year-old kid that took his shirt off and is just going like this, right?
That's great.
It gets the crowd kind of going. So
I don't know if they did it in-house yesterday, but on TV when they do the celebs around the place, Jennifer Garner was at the game yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
so,
she was. Yeah.
Just making sure.
She was, but she got covered. Like she was.
Her kid, I think, jumped in front of her.
Yeah,
at the
someone
last
stood up in front of her, and then you couldn't see her for the rest of the
They
time.
went back a second time.
Okay, good.
They rectified the situation.
Keep track. All right, Taylor?
Cap, but this is because I've never had the privilege of appearing on the
What?
Jumbotron. I don't know. Why not?
We gotta get that.
Gotta be
taken care of.
more extroverted. You gotta do fun things.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah, then you're screwed. It's never gonna happen. Why did you think I would poo-poo the Jumbotron?
Because you poo-poo a lot of things.
Hey, you have no whimsy. You lack whimsy.
That's a Brian Kamenetsky line.
I know,
I do
exactly.
lack whimsy. That's true, but I like that.
I feel like most of these things you're like, no, this is Cap. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be on the Jumbotron. Don't
I
get
love
it
it.
away from me. Get the camera away from me. That just seems like your jam.
Hey, screw you! Why are you doing that to the Jumbo?
All right, so while I was at Disneyland, I was near the Ferris wheel in Disney California Adventure, And my friend and I had gotten like some a flight of beer from the stand, and we were just chatting. And then a young family comes up to us and asks me, it's like, "Hey, would you mind taking a picture of me and my family?" And I was like, "Of course, sure." Took a couple photos. I was like, "Oh," and it's 2 little kids and parents. And so then I was like, "Oh, here's your phone back." Go back to my seat, chat with my friend more, and then I see them stop another person to take the picture again. So I was like, "Is it me? Am I
that's
the
on
problem?"
you. Yeah, there was something.
They did not like your picture taking skills.
This is rude of them to do it while I can still see them. Berg, factor cap.
That is cap. It is not rude. They actually were being nice to you by not saying anything like, "Oh, can you take another picture?" They just said, "We're going to let you go now. We already bothered you once. We're going to go to these next people, and we're going to have them take a picture just to not make it so you're like, oh, being annoying. Like, oh, this, you know what? If you could just take it a little to the left and go from the bottom up a little bit
Get the
more."
Ferris wheel in the shot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, so, no, I don't. The cap.
All right, Al?
Fact, if I'm in that same predicament, I am not going to let the other person know who did not take the good picture that they did not take a good picture. They're basically telling Emily, "I don't know what the hell you were doing with that shot."
Well, but
I
didn't
would
know she was going to see her.
No, I think they did.
Emily was probably eyeballing him across the
right
ball.
there.
She was
I
right
did
there.
not move. I could. They were in full eyesight.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
I would try to separate a little bit. You know, maybe Emily goes to go use the restroom, and then
but
I'm
then
like,
you're
"All
not-
right, let's get the family together. Hurry up."
But then you're not near the Ferris wheel anymore, and you're not going to get the Ferris wheel.
Yeah. I just don't want the person to know that they took an awful photo.
All right, Trev.
So when I was at the San Diego State basketball game on Saturday night, Kelly and I wanted to get some pictures of the 2 of us, and so we asked somebody to take our picture.
I was wondering who took that picture.
Some random San Diego State fan took it, right? So Kelly
dog.
was the one that handed the guy her phone, right? And so the guy takes a bunch, and he was really good. And Kelly looks at him. I'm like, "Make sure you send me this." She goes, "I need to edit and crop some of these because no." Like she was having like no time for the actual framing of the shot originally, but she
had something to work with.
She's a 19-year-old girl. She could see that the bones of a good picture were in it. She just needed to crop it and cut it and brighten it up
Fix
and
it up
all
a
these
little
other
bit.
things.
Way too much work.
But she did do it on the down low. She
Right,
did
exactly.
wait
You
till
don't
we got
want to
back to the
insult
seat.
someone else. Like I felt like I was.
So I don't know what the answer is, but yes, rude.
All right, Taylor.
Cap, don't take it personally, Emily. Maybe their eyes were shut or something like that. They didn't like the way they looked in it. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
Maybe.
see, there you go, Taylor. That's the right way to think about it.
All right, so one of the main stories that coming out of the combine is, Bryce Young and his height and like how he actually ended up measuring out. I think it came out to be 5'10", and that's the same height as Kyler Murray, similar height of Kyler Murray. Anyway, shorter quarterback. So it got me thinking. You have lied about your height to someone. Alan, factor cap.
Cap, I'm 6'2". Everybody knows it. Everybody knows I'm 6'2". I haven't. It's kind of funny. Whenever I see this, and I've seen stuff, people they'll sell shoes where you'll see something, whatever it is. Somebody's going to, the actual.
A lift in it.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, but you're going to take the shoes off at some point. Like,
Right.
I don't know who you're trying to fool here. At the end of the day, you are your height. You might as well just not try to pretend it because the truth will come out. You can't. Maybe you can lie about your weight because not everybody's going to walk around with a scale and say no, you're not. But your height is your height. There's nothing.
You're actually 182.
Height you can't do anything about. I don't think you lie about that one.
Trev.
I have not lied about my height. As somebody that's taller than the average person, I've never really run into a situation where I needed to. I want to go back to the thing that I was talking about the shoes. I do like to tease some of my friends that are a little shorter than average that they are. And I found something online called confidence socks.
That's what it's called?
They're a pair of socks that will add 2 inches to your height. They have like this really thick heel.
Why would you do that?
That's exactly right. Like, so you're 5'5", and now I can pretend that I'm 5'7". Like, what's the difference? It's still 5'7".
My confidence will be shot so much more by wearing those than by not wearing
Wrong.
those.
It says right on the packaging. They're confidence
That's it.
socks.
You're fine now.
It's socks. Like, that's ridiculous.
Berg?
It's cap. Although it's not fair that you and Taylor, by the way, are tall and never have to lie about your height because it doesn't matter. You're already 6'3".
6+. Yep.
So what's listed on your dating apps?
My 5'10".
Okay.
Which is what I am.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what
when
your height is.
when I talk to people, I'll say 5'10", 5'11". So I guess there's a little bit of lie in there because there's no
At least
way.
you're not saying like
I've-
6.
Right.
So.
I've never
Put
said
between
anything.
5'10" and 6'3".
Right.
Just say in that
You
range.
decide. This is your choice. You look at me and say, that's how tall I am.
All your pictures are like next to structural things, so you can see how high, how tall it is.
It's like when you go to 7-Eleven, so they have the height on the door.
Right.
So when they get robbed, the clerk can say he was 5'10" as he runs out the door.
Exactly.
I just never
If you're
understood
getting a
why.
big gulp and you're going up like this, then you're probably
If you're
shorter.
looking up at the big gulp, then yeah, it's a problem. But no, I just never understood why you would lie about your height just in general. Like if you're short, and people are going to know that you're short. And if you're tall, you're tall. So why the difference between me being 5'10" and 6 foot is not that big of a difference. So why am I lying?
But to a lot of women, it is. I mean, they.
I think it only really matters
Bingo.
if you're taller than her.
That's it.
Is the main thing is if she's taller, if you're taller than her, is a big deciding factor. So it's important to be accurate so that you're not misleading her in the photos or whatever.
Yeah, if you're lying on that one, you're right out the gate.
But if they want to
But
see
they
that
do it
6
all the
foot, if they
time,
want to
Alan.
see that 6 foot, and like you're going to see that I'm not that at some point.
But,
I'm
but it's
lying.
also a tell, too, because some people, maybe not you, but some
Right.
people are sensitive to it. Like Kelly is 6 feet tall, maybe actually closer to like 6'1" than 6
Mhm.
feet. And she, to Emily's point, likes boys/men that are taller than she is. Well, that's significantly diminishing the pool, right?
Like significant.
Yeah, right. So it's a big difference. So if she were on one of these apps or whatever, and you had 5'10" or 6 feet, and you're really 5'10", she'd be like, "Oh hell no!" Like you need to kind of, to your point, tell the truth. Or when you show up, it's like, "Well, this isn't going to work."
You're
at
like,
all.
"Oh, that's
And
it."
now you've lied about something that
Right
doesn't
out the
really
gate.
matter.
It's so dumb.
Right out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this girl on TikTok that goes around and will say on a little microphone, and she'll be like, "Oh, how tall are you?" And then the guy will answer, and then she'll bring out a tape measure, and almost
good.
every time they're not actually
Yeah. They're
accurate to
lying.
their height.
Isn't that the whole NBA? Where they're like
Probably.
listed at
Probably. Although
listed
Durant
as
lies
6'9",
the other way.
and they're
Durant says he's 6'10", and he's at least 7 feet. It's like,
Well,
what the
being
hell
a
are we
7-footer
doing
is
here?
different.
It's KD.
thing.
He lies about a lot of things.
All right, Taylor.
Maybe not
round
lies,
us
but
off.
he's a
Fact,
You know.
I actually have. So I used to do this in basketball when I was in high school. I would say I was 5'10", just to mess with people. I don't know.
right, but then they look at you and go, "That dude's not."
That's a
the
weird
scouting
looking
report.
5'10"
They're like,
guy.
all right, you guard the
Look at
5'10"
like
guy.
6'3",
the
6'4"?
Yeah,
Got
something
3
like that.
inches on him.
No, you're taller. You're like 6'5", right?
When I stand up straight, I have poor posture.
Well, like when. Never mind.
You need confidence socks. They'll help in your posture.
He'd look like Durant with confident socks. He'd
I
be,
need to,
He just
I
starts
just-
putting them on. He's like, eh.
I just want a pair of confidence socks. Can we just order a pair just to see what they're
Emily,
like?
put it in my good idea folder. Confident socks for Bergman.
Okay, well,
Just want to see what they do for me. Like,
What,
will I
you
feel?
think you
will I
put 'em
feel like
on?
I'm like on top of the world?
You're
Like,
walking around and like these beautiful women all over, like, "Hey, what's going
Hey.
on?" You're like, "Just needed that extra
and then I'll
confidence."
say, "Guess what? I'm going to take off these socks. You're not going to like me anymore."
Who is that guy? I met somebody.
Just never
else.
take off your shoes and your socks.
Right.
Keep them on.
I'll tell you guys a story off the air that's pretty great. USC opens spring ball today. What a difference a year makes. That's coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 7.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm totally fine. Okay. I'm okay. Yeah. First fall of the day. Oh, it's on camera.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
sports talk all day long. Each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
A lot of people weighing in on Twitter, Slee, about the John Morant conversation that we were having, kind of on both sides of it, too. Like, there's a lot of people like, no, bad guy, this is going to blow up. And then a lot of, dude, he's a very young man who made some very stupid decisions, but let the guy live. Let him try to learn from some of those decisions. We'll circle back to some of that stuff as well. I want to get into SC. Caleb Williams could do something only one other guy has ever done, win back-to-back Heismans. But I'll be honest. It's kind of just been gnawing at the back of my brain with Yates trying to slide into our pickleball prep. I don't think I like that.
He didn't help himself. Because last week we had it all set up. We have 4 guys. And look at AK coming in out of nowhere saying, guys, I got you.
Clinton.
What's that?
Including Clinton. Like he was in your foursome
No,
last
that's what
week.
I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So Clinton backs out, and then AK steps up like, I don't know, just somebody coming in off the bench saying, guys, I got you. And then there we did. We thrived, and pickleball was very interesting, but I had a good time. And then he called in, wanted to get in for – you told me Friday, like, we need a 4th. You got to have a 4th. We need to play with each other. So I got the 4th. Burke, who was listening, Matt Burke, one of our sales guys, comes around and he's like, so am I out? I'm like, no, you're not out. We already set it up with you.
You said you were in.
You're in.
You're in. Allen is in. Travis is in. Burke is in. Ron is in.
That's the 4.
That's the 4.
Yeah.
And, of course, we are prepping for our Pickleball Madness tournament coming up. Al, it is
I know, it's coming
10
up.
days away, or 12 days away. March 18th, 10 a to 4 p, Agape Pickleball Center in Fountain Valley. That's at Miles Square Park. If you want to come out and watch, please do. You'll have a great time. Reserved seating is available. You can register at ESPNLA.com. Of course, it's open to the public. You can bring your kids. There's a kid zone. There's TVs to watch the college basketball games that'll be going on. There's Pop-A-Shot. There's a beer garden. There's complimentary food and drink. There's a DJ. There's entertainment. All the things that you're going to love, having a great time. And you can see us humiliate ourselves trying to play a little pickleball, thanks to Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, Seltzer, and Pizza Hut.
It's for somebody who never played before, I kind of got a little bit of the itch, I guess you can call it, and then I didn't play over the weekend. So I told you.
You're literally
I'm 1 in.
1 in, okay.
I'm 1 in. You know what happened? Let me tell you something on Saturday. So they're cramming. We've talked about once the All-Star game is done, they cram a lot of games in. And last week specifically, they had 4 games. Oof. So Saturday, I had in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go play some pickleball. And then Saturday came around, and I did not play pickleball. I saw 2 episodes of Your Honor Saturday. Saw
Pretty deep in now.
Saw 2 episodes of Your Honor Sunday. I know.
I know. Emily, you're going to start like a prestige TV podcast.
Listen, here's the issue. I'm. We were talking about this. We talked a little bit about, okay, what's the most that you can watch? Mm-hmm. If it's really good, 2 is a perfect.
And that's just kind of heavy, so you can't really.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
It's very, but it's a full movie. That's 2 hours, right? Each episode is 1 hour long. So I'm basically watching a full episode. Saturday was if I wore a head cam of what I did on Saturday, that thing would not have moved very often. Do you know what I got up and took a shower?
Static shot of the TV and the refrigerator. Those are the 2 things that I'm envisioning.
Do you know what I got up and took a shower for on Saturday?
What? Wait, hold on. Ask that question again.
Do you know why I got up?
Why?
What actually motivated me to get up on Saturday and take a shower and try to make myself look sort of like a human being?
You were going to dinner with Lady Slee.
Nope, going to lunch with Lady Slee.
Okay, close.
That was it. We were going to grab, she wanted to grab, there's a good like wood fire pizza joint, whatever. And it was around 2. She said, let's go around 2. Finally, I got up. It's like 1:30.
Were you still in like sweatpants or what were you?
Yeah. That's what I was in.
That's so good.
You ever have a day like that where you're like, I don't think I'm going anywhere.
It's most weekends for me.
Yeah, I think I'm moving.
Yeah.
The weather was just cloudy enough, too, or you didn't want to go anywhere.
It's Saturdays.
But I had told myself, I think I'm going to go play pickleball on Saturday.
Nah.
Saturday came, like, I think I'm not going to play pickleball on Saturday.
So you're talking about the kind of the maximum amount of time you can sit there and stare at the TV before you get kind of restless. Friday night, Susan and I were in different places, right? So we didn't reconnect until
she was in San Diego, right?
She was in San Diego, and then Michael had a game on Saturday, so we didn't get together till around 8 o'clock on Friday night. So we're not going to go out to dinner at that point. The night, we're going to stay in. So we're watching Yellowstone, right? That we're trying to get. We're like halfway through, closer to the end of season 3 now. So we turn on one. It's great. Have a glass of wine, enjoying the show.
Is that 1 hour? Is Yellowstone each episode?
Yeah, but it's got
hour?
commercials in it, so you can.
Right.
So it's about 40 minutes by the time you've watched an episode, maybe 45. And she goes, "You want to watch another one?" Yeah, sure. Do a second one. At this point, like towards the end of the second, I'm staring at my phone. I'm getting restless. I'm done. And it's a little bit later. It's like 10 or 10:30. I'm like, I'm going to bed. And she's like, what do you mean? Let's watch one more. I'm like, I don't want to watch another one. I said, you can watch as many. You can watch the whole series. I don't really care.
That is pretty funny.
She got mad at me for wanting to go to bed.
Okay, that's pretty funny because I kind of ran into that yesterday with my girl.
What do you mean you're leaving?
She was done. She's like, okay, hey, we watch another hour. I have work in the morning. You have work in the morning. Let's go to bed. I'm like, one more. And, it just starts saying play again, right? Or next episode, whatever it is. Sure. So I hit it, and I'm trying to, convince her, if I could just get it started, if I could rope her in for 5 minutes,
You're
5 minutes.
You're not wrong. You get it started, then it's like, all right, I'll just see.
So what episode are you on?
I'm on, I think I'm 6 in. I think the next episode, so I'm 6 in. So
I don't have much left in this first season. So, yeah.
So if I'm correct here, it's 2 seasons in.
It is, the second season is airing right now.
You're gonna be able to real time before you know.
In a week, I'll be real time.
All right.
Yeah, in a week I'll be real time.
And then I'm going to convince you to watch Yellow Jackets, which is also on Showtime. So if you still have your Showtime, then I'm going to convince you to try to watch.
He's going to have them all. But by the time we get to the summer, he's going to have every streaming platform known to man. Caleb Williams could become the second guy to do something in 50 years, and he might have to. It's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710.
Brand's radio station. Here we go. Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa. Travis and Sliwa is on for your Monday. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We begin 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long. Hope you had a great weekend, a beautiful weekend. We will get the reviews of what Trav got into in San Diego.
I should have told him which taco shops I used to go to at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sure he's got it covered. I don't think we got to worry about Travis and Mexican food.
Meanwhile, big Lakers win yesterday at Crypto against the Warriors. Lake Show getting closer and closer to the play-in. And yes, the Clippers actually won a game, breaking that losing streak since getting Westbrook. Plus, we know pickleball fever is all over the place. Slee says that him and Trav will practice this week.
And T-Raj and I actually are going to play together later this week.
All of that and so much more. Let's get to it. Young Monday, Travis and Sliwa right now.
Yeah. Of course I found Mexican food. Of course.
You going back down to San Diego State this weekend? What frat house are you going to?
Got invited to, not just invited,
Yeah.
specifically asked to attend a fraternity event on Saturday night, but the adult part of my brain kicked in. For half a second, I'm like, I should go over there and do a few laps around there, do a few, shotguns, teach these whippersnappers what it's all about. But then I envisioned Frank the Tank. I'm like, I don't need that.
No, it's Frank the
in my life.
Tank. That's amazing.
I
You're going
don't need
streaking.
that.
You're stopping at KFC at, 2 a.m. in the morning, something like that?
Trav coming over to the house tonight because it would be lit if he showed up. That was the exact text.
I really
that my
liked that they
daughter
said
got.
lit.
Yeah.
It's even better. But speaking of
I
parties,
want to be Vince Vaughn and just have a speaker shop that I'm trying to.
But speaking of parties that might or may not be lit, which likely won't be, but it'll be fun. So my friends and so the Oscars is next Sunday. So my friends and I are going to host another.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, I'm sure you're well aware because you're now Prestige TV guy. You're going to turn into Prestige movie guy, and me and you can have these conversations. But we're going to host a party, and so we're thinking about what we want to serve. And my roommates really want to do a lot of puns. So I just want to run some of these puns by you because I think that they're pretty funny.
There's no corn dogs from Disneyland. I don't want a part of this.
Keg stands?
No keg stands. We will not have a keg, but maybe we'll do I don't know, something else. Maybe do beer chucking at some point if you lose. So first one for Top Gun Maverick, we have Top Gun Mac-Frick and cheese. So we got mac and cheese, but it's Mac-Frick and cheese, right? But great guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope you can.
Okay, well, let me just say this.
If that's your opening offer,
wait.
I'm worried.
You kind of tell the whole joke and then you didn't give it a second to breathe. Like I think you should just give it a second and you're like, that's my joke. All right, go ahead.
All right, next one. The movie is called Women Talking. The app is called Women Talkies. So we're gonna have Talkies, and then this is gonna be labeled as Women Talkies.
The little chip.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Talkies. Yeah. So the next
tacos.
one, we could do Women Tacos as well, but I don't know. Maybe there's a connotation there we don't want to address. So then there's Triangle of Sadness, but we're gonna have Triangles of Sadness, which are just Doritos, and we're just gonna call them Triangles of Sadness. So there's that. There's the Fablemans, but we're gonna have Spielburgers. We're gonna have sliders.
You're one sounds good. Keep going. You've got one on the board.
All right, we got All Quiet on the Western Front is the movie. The app is Buffalo Quiet on the Western Front, which is buffalo dip. I know exactly. That wasn't my one. That wasn't my pun. Okay, we got Elvis. L pigs in a blanket. So like Elvis, L pigs.
Well, if you're gonna do an Elvis thing, you got to do like the Fluffernutter fried
But
sandwiches.
we wanted puns. We didn't want actually relating to the movie. We just wanted puns.
Yeah, but these aren't puns.
Bro, but
These
you're
are
not
just trying to
invited.
jam words into the middle of this.
Avatar: The Way of Water.
So true.
We're just gonna have water available.
Sure. Yep.
Makes sense.
Emily, you're a bright
that's
woman.
my favorite one so far.
You need
is
to
the
really
water.
step your game up
They're
on
gonna
this.
have water there. I love that
Okay.
one.
Next one's gonna be the movie's called Tar. We're gonna have instead of bruschetta, it's gonna be bruschetta tar. Okay. So
Are you
that.
punking us right now?
Nope, we're not
Yeah.
punking. I'll show you the thing. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once. We're gonna have just an everything bagel because that's actually from the movie. But we're having everything bagels available. So those are the
6 weeks of prep.
the 10. So if anybody has any better suggestions for pun-related food, but I think my favorite is the Women Talkies. But
I'm not trying to put him on the spot right now, but you know who's terrific at puns and stuff like this? Like, he does a great job with our show.
Yeah.
He's on TNT all the time with his tweets, is Francis in Glendale.
yeah, Francis, call in,
He
give me
is
some.
tremendous at puns. So Emily, you should
Francis,
DM him
before,
and ask him for some help.
Yeah, before you even said his name, he was already like, he closed the door behind him. He was already like sitting. I could see him just thinking.
Every time I turn on TNT, he's got one.
Yeah, I know he does.
Shotgun Mac, Rick and cheese.
No, Emily,
Yeah,
stop.
that's
yeah, please. I hold you in high regard, and that does not top
TNT is
Maverick and cheese or whatever it is.
Mac, Rick and cheese.
Maverick
Come on,
and
Travis.
cheese, yeah, I don't know. I don't
like
know.
the Avatar one.
Water.
Yeah,
just water. The way of water.
It was good. That one was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Simplify it.
I don't know. I asked you. I walked in during the break there. There were some Suns highlights on the TV. I don't know. You know, sometimes just something you see something, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's it. Like you talk yourself in all these conversations. Is it this? Is it that? What's the best team? Who's the best player? What's got the best chance? And well, I could talk myself into this, that, or the next thing. The Suns are going to win the West, right? Like we can sit here and talk about the Clippers get hot and the Lakers get healthy and the
Warriors
Memphis has
and,
the Warriors.
yeah.
The Suns are, as long as Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul and Ayton are able-bodied, they're going to win the West, right?
So here's what's funny. Before KD even played a game for the Suns, every time in the pregame show, doesn't matter who it is. It could be Dave McMenamin. I could ask Michael. I could ask Brad Turner of the LA Times. Every time I bring up the question, all right, pick one team out of the Western Conference, everyone is like, you start with the Suns, and then you start kind of trying to convince yourself if another team can beat them. I guess it would be a surprise if let's put it this way. If it's not the Phoenix Suns representing the West, I'm going to give Denver a little bit of credit, okay? I know you got to see it from them first, but those two teams, that would be my top two. Just like in the Eastern Conference, you say, all right, hey, it's Boston and Milwaukee. Those are the top two. But the West is so Clippers. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, but I think it's the same in the West too, Al. That Denver and Phoenix are a lot better than everybody else.
But I say that if Denver had to play the Warriors in the first round, Warriors would say.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if the Warriors the Nuggets and the Suns start the Western Conference Finals 7-game series. Is anybody picking the Nuggets? It feels like it's just not that they can't win.
Yeah.
That's different. But if you had to bet
for every 4 picks you have, 3 of them are going to go to the Phoenix Suns.
If you had to bet something that really matters to you and you got to try to pick the winner,
you're probably
I'm
leaning
picking
towards
the Suns.
Phoenix.
It's just Kevin Durant's just going out there and doing 30s like he's just floating through it.
So that game yesterday was on before the Laker game, right? So they had the Nuggets and the Suns on. Yeah, there is this. Chris Paul is bringing the ball up the floor, and I'm like, so Chris Paul has Devin Booker on one side. He's got KD on the other side. He's got Ayton in front of him. Is that not the perfect situation for Chris Paul? That he's basically the 4th best player on that team? Yeah, it's pretty good.
And they've got a coach with experience. Most of the players on that team have been through the fire multiple times. There's not going to be a lot of big, wide eyes on what this is all about. Because when the trade went down, Durant was hurt and wasn't able to play. I don't know if we had that, okay, here we go. You had to wait a week or so and then the All-Star break. Like you just didn't. He's just now starting to play with them.
You know, it's funny,
but
before even seeing everything and before I think people were already saying, yep, the West is going to go through the Suns.
Yeah.
So just now it's only adding to that when you actually see him play.
So SC starts spring football practice today. There's what to watch for and this player and that player and a couple of things. Just we can get into some players if we want to, specifically Caleb Williams. But the vibe surrounding this SC football season relative to a year ago when they kicked off the football season with Lincoln Riley, new in town, got all the money and the houses and the jets and all the things that come along with it. It's like, okay, this is cool. They got rid of the stalest, this program was just kind of rotting from the inside out. They weren't good. They weren't exciting. Coliseum was mostly empty. It just wasn't good to instantly there's buzz. And let's see what it's going to look like, right? And they went out and they were really, really good. And they got very close to going to the Final Four. They win one game against Utah at the end there. They probably go. Caleb Williams doesn't pull a hamstring. They probably go. Now that's football. It happens. But now we have the first back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner since Archie Griffin in the 70s. It's been 50 years. Have they fixed the defense enough to be in that top 4? And if they haven't, whose head rolls? That happened in a year, Al. That's not. It's supposed to take. I understand with the portal and everything else, it can happen fast. But from hey, I don't know what this is going to be, to you better fix that defense and go to the Final Four and win 2 Heisman trophies in a row in a year. My God, that's fast.
Well, and this is a compliment, however you ended up looking at the USC season last year. Because I think people can make an argument, hey, you were X amount of weeks in, and you thought at the worst you're going to go to at least the Rose Bowl, right? And that didn't happen, and you lost your bowl game. That's just kind of the circumstances
Can
of what
I stop
happened.
you right there?
Yeah.
Because I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you put a lot of stock in that collapse against Tulane? Because it was terrible. They blew a big lead late in the game and lost to a team they had no business losing to.
I don't put a lot of stock in it, but that's also supposed to be a game where we shouldn't have a negative conversation when that game is over. So I think that if they won the game, you don't put a lot of stock in it. Because they lost the game the way they did, you walk away saying, why'd you lose that game that way?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not supposed to lose that game that way. They created...
And they lost the game the way that they lost all of their games. They couldn't stop anybody.
And it reminded you also of Lincoln Riley when he was in Oklahoma or whatever the case is. They created something in their first year that, let's just say hypothetically, they lost 4 games last year before the bowl game.
Okay.
And that they weren't in this, hey, you're a game away from winning the Pac-12. You're a game away from potentially going to the Rose Bowl. Let's say they added a couple more losses on there. I still think you could have walked in and said, okay, hey, this is part of the progress. It takes a second. You can't just overnight change around a college football program. And I think they created hey, they're ready to start winning right now. So it's probably not fair, but at the same time, that's what the expectations are going to be for USC. It's Lincoln Riley's words when he was doing his presser, right?
Yeah.
When he was first coming out. This whole thing is going to change. You look behind me. Remember, you're at the Coliseum, and it's the Coliseum behind you. He's like, it ain't going to be the same of what it's been.
Right.
He wasn't lying, and
No,
he did meet those goals and those standards. But now it's, can you play with the big boys? Can you get stops on defense? Can you make sure that you take care of the Pac-12? The expectations this year will be different.
A couple of things. Number one, I love that he leans into what you're talking about. This wasn't the landscape of the sport is changing. It's going to take some time. It was, we're fixing this and we're going to do it fast. And they did. And now coming into this season, it's his message isn't, hey, listen, we still got a long way to go. This was, we're just getting started. Like, he's leaning into we're USC and we're back, and the rest of you guys better get ready because we're coming to kick your ass. I like that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but I like him leaning into it. They're using the portal as well as anybody else. In the article that I was reading, the linebacker from Oklahoma State, running back from South Carolina, a couple of kids from Florida, another offensive lineman from they're doing what modern college football is go get good players off of other teams. Don't try to get a 17-year-old high school kid that might be good in 3 years. I'm just going to get a guy that's good right now. That's part of it. The other part of it is they've got a problem that has already started to bubble up that no one has really offered a solution to, other than maybe get a player here or there. They don't play defense. He's never played defense. And you look at their schedule, through the first month of the season, right, till they get to the end of September, they don't really have a game that you would expect them to
Last
lose.
year was the easy schedule, right? Last season was?
Yeah. Last year they didn't play Washington. They didn't play Oregon. They
had home games that against some of the big matchups.
Yes.
Yep.
They opened the season San Jose State, Nevada, Stanford, ASU, Colorado. They should not lose any of those games. I know that Coach Prime is going to have the Buffs better. They shouldn't beat USC in the first year. That should not happen. After that, it gets. Let me throw one more game in there. Arizona stinks too. After that, Notre Dame, Utah, 2 tough games, right? At Notre Dame, home against Utah. Cal on the road. Cal stinks, whatever. And then you finish Washington, Oregon, UCLA. That's a real schedule. Oregon's going to score points. Utah's going to score points. Notre Dame's going to score points.
Where are those?
UCLA is going to score points.
The last 3 games, where are they?
2 at home, 1 on the road. Oregon on the road, Washington, UCLA at home.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a real schedule.
That is.
You get Utah kind of, in the middle of late October. This is a far different animal than last year, which is, if you win most of these, it's pretty good. This is huge expectations.
Yep.
Still haven't really fixed the defense. Mm-hmm. And we even talked about Caleb Williams having the pressure of, hey, you won the Heisman pretty easily. I don't want to say easily. It's never easy. Convincingly.
Yeah.
Better word. There was no, oh, man, it should have gone. It's Caleb Williams that should have won it. Mm-hmm. Nobody's won back-to-back since the 70s. It's 50 years ago.
Well, unfortunately for him, it's, okay, let's say he goes out and has one of those seasons again. do you want, and I'm not saying both of these can't happen, but do you want Caleb Williams to be that player that you're talking about and he's, again, a shoo-in to go win a Heisman, or do you want, can we just have a freaking defense that I don't have to put up 45 points a game, right?
How about both?
That's what I'm saying. It's not that you can't say both can't happen, but I think a lot of the times Caleb Williams was great last year, but part of the reason why he was so great is he didn't have a choice. That in a lot of these games, he needed to put up 40 a game because the defense was giving up 38. So I don't know how much that's going to change, and I don't know how much that conversation is going to change by the time this year is done. But damn, if it's the same conversation we're having, Caleb Williams is amazing, the offense is great, yeah, but they give up 30-plus points a game.
Imagine, what if they lose to Utah again 42-40? Lose to Notre Dame 42-38? It's, okay, really? We're gonna get this fixed at one point or another? Caleb Williams is going to win 2 Heisman trophies in a row. Calling my shot right now. It's only once every 50 years, like clockwork. Happens all the time. A little bit more information about the Ja Morant story. Ramona's just dropping some new details on that. Plus, Dodgers and Padres are on the field right now, Slee, and I could get used to this. It's coming up. It's Trav and Slee.
Oh, you're...
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm totally fine. Okay. I'm okay. Yeah. First fall of the day. Oh, it's on camera.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Description of a burrito he had down in San Diego.
Go through there, get a breakfast burrito the size of a shoebox.
Come on, bro.
Okay, it was.
Come on, man.
It was to the point where I couldn't hold it in one hand because it would flop over. That's how much stuff was in it. Like you had to hold it right in the middle, or else the top would tip over like a Jenga
get
tower.
Out of your car, set it up on top of the car.
It was too big to eat with one hand and drive.
That's what you come to expect from us. LA Sports Talk and Burrito Talk, yo. Let's get back to the fun. Travis and Sliwa, your Monday continues right now.
The woman at the window at the drive-thru, when I picked up that burrito, she's like, what kind of salsa do you want with that? I said, well, what are my options? And she said, well, we got verde and we got 2 different types of red salsa. I said, let's have a little bit of all of them. Put 2 of each in the bag, Al.
Done.
6 different little salsas. It was great. One
Remember
of them
last week when I had a Chipotle burrito right before the...
Yeah, this was not
almost
that.
fell asleep.
Look, put it this way. I was watching volleyball afterwards, and I had a gut full of breakfast burrito. I wasn't getting ready to do burpees on the side of the court, but it was great. One of the salsas, I think, would strip the paint off my car. It was so hot. Like, I'm experienced enough to know that when you go to one of those authentic kind of taco shop places.
Kind of the darker that red salsa.
I'm going to, I'm not good at that as far as telling just by the color. Like, I'm going to dip my pinky in it and just kind of take a little taste. Salsa verde, perfect. This is the first red one, not bad. The third one was like, no, hell no. Not in a million years. It would have killed me.
I'm okay with that. I can go. What I can't have it do is take over everything. And if it takes over everything, then you're done.
That's what it was. It was like your tongue.
Because then you can't
melting.
taste anything.
No,
then it's like, all right,
eating a spark plug. It's pretty aggressive. All right, a little more news on the Ja Morant situation. Of course, he did not play yesterday against the Clippers, who got their first win in 6 tries with Russell Westbrook. Came from 15 behind in the fourth quarter. Is that right?
Yeah, down 15. They gave up 51 in the third to no Ja Morant and no Dillon Brooks.
Morant will not play against the Lakers tomorrow night, and Memphis is basically saying he was not going to play in a couple of games, but there's no, hard and fast timetable for when he's going to come back.
Yeah.
Ramona Shelburne, who of course will be here with Mason and Ireland coming up in a little bit, tweeted the following. Police in Colorado said Monday that they're investigating Ja Morant's actions after the Grizzlies star posted an Instagram live video in which he displayed what appeared to be a gun while at a nightclub. The Glendale Police Department said it's investigating whether Morant may have broken any gun laws. Colorado is an open carry state, although there are exceptions to the law. It is illegal in Colorado to possess a firearm while under the influence of alcohol. NBA rules prohibit a player from possessing a firearm while on team premises or traveling on team business. In the video live streamed by Morant, it is not clear whether he is intoxicated, but others are shown drinking in the video. All right. So those are the new deets. This is just bad news for the league. It's bad news for Ja Morant. It's bad news for the Grizzlies. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Nothing really happened, thank goodness. But this isn't just one video of Ja Morant doing something good. Wait, is that a gun? This is on the heels of him being accused of beating up a 17-year-old after a pickup game.
Yep.
This is on the heels of someone in his group pointing a weapon at the Indiana Pacers team bus, a laser-sighted weapon. This is just a series of stuff that makes you go, hey, what the heck's going on over there? To the point where the league / the team came in and said, we're going to sit him down for a minute and see if we need to get him some help.
So no player is bigger than the league, period. You might say, listen, LeBron maybe, right? Like there's
Close.
there's some players
Close.
that are, you can't quantify how big they are. Ja Morant, good player. Ja Morant, exciting player, fun player. Yet you can't have a black eye to the league. He's not that player. He's an unbelievable player. But whatever this is that's going on with Ja Morant, the NBA does not want to be anywhere associated. By the way, if you're Ja Morant, you don't want to be associated with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I do think they'll take action. And what that means, initially it was this is a 2-game, he'll be out for 2 games at least. I don't think it's going to be 2 games. I don't think it's going to be 2 months. But I think there's a very good chance. What are we, in March right now? Maybe another week goes by.
Think it could be that long?
A week is, you could say 3 to 4 games total. Mm-hmm. So it's not a crazy number. Probably something like that. And then Ja Morant's going to have to get in front of reporters and talk about the situation, talk about what he's doing off the floor and everything else to try to make sure this stuff doesn't happen again. But everything that Ja Morant has been involved in over these, you can call it 30 days or whatever the case is, all stuff that it's incredibly disappointing. I'm a fan. I really am. I'm a fan.
I think
most
anybody
people
that's an
are.
NBA fan is a fan
I'm a
of his
fan.
game.
I'd hate to have, when you think of Ja Morant, you got to think of stuff like this off the floor. I just want to think of Ja Morant as, hey, here's somebody that is incredibly young, taking a franchise like the Memphis Grizzlies, putting them on the map, and hopefully that goes back to that conversation a month from now.
Well, that's the part that he's in, that kind of that purgatory, right? He's in between being the guy that you think of right away when you think of great players and being the guy that you think of with stuff, right? When you think of Steph Curry, you don't think of stuff. You think of him knocking down 40-footers and winning championships. When you
Family
think of LeBron
man,
James, you think of all the basketball things and business things that come along with LeBron James. Giannis, the same way. He's kind of a goofy, likable, stayed in his hometown, and all of these sorts of things. With Morant, it's gone from, dude, how's a guy that size doing what he's doing, just killing guys in the league, to what's up with Ja Morant?
Yeah.
And that's not
It's a
where
good
the league
description.
wants it to be. The league is okay with him being not Steph Curry, right? Not everybody can be Steph Curry. Not everybody can be the guy selling Subway and doing all these things. But, Morant just got a deal with Powerade. He's going to get a Nike signature. He's getting big brands, but you're running around with guns and having assault allegations against you. Yeah, we don't need that. And I think it's really it's informing that it's not just that he's down for a couple of games. The language that's being used to describe what's going on is, we're going to get him some help. We're going to see what's going on. This isn't just, we're going to smack him upside the head and say, dude, come on, man, wake up. It's a little different than that. It's a little more, hey, is everything okay? And I think that's good. I think that we're a little more sensitive to maybe somebody going through some stuff is better than, dude, stop doing that. That doesn't really work. It's, why are you doing that? What can we do to try to prevent that from happening in the future? But he's put himself in a really weird spot where the first thing you think of with him now is not necessarily basketball. It's the stuff that isn't basketball.
And I don't, we were talking about, hey, how long do you think Ja Morant would be out for a month, just hypothetically speaking? And I think both you and I think that, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Here's the one kind of caveat to this entire thing. It might not be up to the Memphis Grizzlies, right? When you start looking at, just reading the tweet from Ramona, there are obviously state laws, there are NBA laws that could kind of come into play here. So this might not be listen, if it's up to the Memphis Grizzlies, hey, take a week off, figure it out, come back, let's play some basketball. We got potentially a playoff run coming in front of us. The question's going to be, did he break laws either in the state, or did he break some type of NBA law that could come into the mix?
The jurisdiction of governments is one thing. He can't make that go away if they decide they want to make something. The jurisdiction of the NBA, because the NBA kind of punted on this. They punted it back to the Grizzlies to begin. The Grizzlies are the ones administering this suspension. He's got the game against the Lakers tomorrow. Then he's home for Golden State and Dallas. They got 3 games this week. Okay? The Laker game would be game number 2. I'd be shocked if he's not back by Dallas on Saturday. They play Dallas again on Monday as well. They have back-to-backs with Dallas Saturday, Monday. Worst case, second Dallas game, I think he's probably there for, because, look, the NBA does not want their guy
No,
gone
of course they don't.
for a long period of time for stuff like this. It'll be one of those, I've seen the mistake. I can already tell you what the statement might be, whether anybody means it or not.
Yeah.
I guess time will tell.
Well, and I was going to say, no matter what they say from this point moving forward, for Ja Morant, it's up to him to start changing that vision that people are starting to have on him.
All right, Dodgers and Padres on the field right now, second inning. But something going on with the Dodgers that I don't think has been true for 10 years. It's coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. If you're hurt,
Oh,
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm totally fine. Okay. I'm okay. Yeah. First fall of the day. Oh, it's on camera.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!
apparently the secret is out, Al, on Miguel Vargas in spring training, at least to this point. Miguel Vargas is not allowed to swing the bat. He's got a little teeny tiny fracture in his hand, and doctors suggested don't swing the bat. But he can play baseball like he's playing the infield for the Dodgers. There's a big piece on it this morning that he's still drawing a bunch of walks, and pitchers are like throwing him off speed stuff and all this. The Padres obviously said, all right, enough of this. They just grooved 3 fastballs down the middle to end the inning. They got in a little
that's
trouble.
fascinating. We were just talking about in the break. Have you ever seen anything like that?
Never.
Where somebody's taking at bats, but everybody knows that he's not allowed to swing.
The only other thing I've seen is like where there's a game where like Kenley Jansen comes up to bat in the 8th inning because the lineup is what it is and
Sure.
they can't double switch
Sure.
him. And everybody knows like he's just going to stand there. You just have to throw the ball over the middle of the plate, but never with a
not that
position
kind of
player like that.
circumstance.
Dodger lineup today, Slee. You ready for this?
Sure.
Let me see. Where did I put this? I lost it already. Here's the top 5 guys they ran out there. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, J.D. Martinez. Those are the 4 guys that they have right out of the chute.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty darn good, right? Those are 4 no, and I said Will Smith. So they've got 5 guys at the top of their lineup that are as good as pretty much anybody else is going to put out at the top of theirs. Where I think it's interesting, and where I think Gavin Leck's injury really kind of put you on the precipice of this. Andrew Friedman was talking about this. They're one more piece of bad luck from having a real problem depth-wise. They're right now, what was their greatest advantage was Bellinger played multiple positions, Lux played multiple positions, Muncy, Taylor, all of these, Mookie, really. All these guys can move over and play all these different positions. You're kind of down to one guy in every spot now, which is more typical, but the big advantage they had is gone. And for the first time in 10 years, this feels like a team that is maybe not today, but potentially vulnerable. One more thing to one of those guys, and even, like, let's just say it's Chris Taylor. Now what? Now you have to make a move. You have to go into the minor leagues. They're thin for the first time in 10 years.
So one of Andrew Friedman's quotes, this was he was speaking to reporters on Friday. He said, we're definitely susceptible if we have another injury. So that just goes off what you said. But he had the solution as well. He said, so we've decided we just won't have another injury for the rest of the year.
Good
They're
plan.
good to go. They're good to go. Now, listen, it's I think it makes the Dodgers – the Dodgers have just been kind of, okay, chalk it up. This is what the Dodgers are going to do this upcoming year. That's what they've done for 10 years. And now all of a sudden there are question marks around the Dodgers. We're not accustomed to having question marks around the Los Angeles Dodgers. Doesn't mean they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, go look at those first 5. We were talking about their starting rotation last week, and I said, I don't know, I feel like there's some holes. You're like, well, you can't go find a rotation where there aren't some holes, but you take your chances with the 5 that they're going to put out there. I think this is just so different for Dodger fans and a Dodger conversation we're not accustomed to. That's what makes this an interesting topic. It makes it an interesting topic because usually you're saying, all right, well, how much are the Dodgers going to win the NL West by?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not a guarantee, but if things just kind of go as planned, the Dodgers are going to win the NL West. And the fact that that's not the lead conversation is interesting. The fact that maybe some of this also has to do with, let's say hypothetically the Padres were just the regular old Padres from 5 years ago and they didn't go out and get all those players. Then you could still kind of sit here and say to yourself, all right, well, there really isn't anybody else within the division that you're worried about. You know, Friedman was asked about the Padres. A lot of people are talking about the Padres right now. So maybe it's a combination of the two, that the depth that you're accustomed to with the Dodgers, plus there's another team within the division that you're saying before the season starts, wow, that's a really good team as well. That's kind of changing a little bit of the narrative.
Let me throw this scenario at you. And because I've been saying it, that I really have a hard time envisioning a season where the Dodgers are not in the playoffs. Not necessarily win the division, but not in the playoffs. Let's just say that Clayton Kershaw has his normal amount of injuries, but maybe just slightly more.
Okay.
Let's say that Dustin May is still not back to form after a significant injury.
Okay.
Let's say that Noah Syndergaard doesn't have that Dodger bounce like a lot of other guys had. Not out of the realm of possibility.
Gonsolin doesn't have the same year that he had a year ago.
All of these things, and we've even had half of these things, and now throw in, let's say you lose Will Smith for a few weeks, a month. with an injury. Let's say that the back end of the bullpen, which you don't have an answer for, becomes a real problem.
The regular grind of a 162-game season, yep.
There is a scenario that exists where they're kind of scuffling all of a sudden. They're not going to be bad. They got too many good players. They're not going to be bad, but they might not be particularly good. Now, the good news is, listening to Friedman after he was done doing his material, was that guy knows what to do. He's not going to make a bad deal right now. The Dodgers right now are one bad break away from being really, really in trouble. But it's March 6th. By May 6th, it'll be different. By July 6th, it'll damn sure be different. And by September and October 6th, I think you're going to be looking at a pretty different team. This is what he does. He waits. He waits. He looks and sees what he has in his system. He looks and sees what he has at the big league level. He finds distressed assets in other places, and he brings them in. Right now, this team is good, not great. I think by the time we get to it, they're going to be pretty damn good all over again.
Yeah, he had said something, once Gavin Lux went down. What do you call him? The ambulance chasers. He's calling all these other teams out there. He's talking about how a lot of them would call in and be like, hey,
right. I got a guy.
Lux is out. How can we help? And
how can we help? Sure.
I think it was actually pretty funny the way he described it. You're not wrong with everything you just said, and I think that comes from somebody who's got an incredible amount of confidence in a group, in a front office that has done it before. So maybe that's part of this as well. I would say it's a little surprising to me that they didn't do really anything in the offseason.
No, not really.
And maybe that means, okay, well, as the season progresses, they're going to handle whatever they need to handle. But it's a new challenge. It's just a completely different twist to a Dodgers team that we're not accustomed to. You know what we're accustomed to the Dodgers is addressing whatever needs that they had before the season started.
How do you turn something greater? Now it's how do you turn something good back into great? The Dodgers are teeing off on your Padres right now. I wish this mattered and wasn't a spring training game, but it is what it is. Do you think that Andrew Friedman gets the Jerry West treatment when he calls to say, hey, I was thinking about making a deal. If Jerry West is on the other end of that phone, you're going to get taken to school. Jerry West is going to get the better end of that deal because he always did. That if Jerry West made a deal, he was getting the players that you should have held on to, right? Just year after year after year. Friedman's kind of gotten into that spot where, hey, you know what? I'll take Tyler Anderson. Just, bring him in here. You know what? I'll take that guy. We'll see what happens. And then Chris Taylor, he's kind of a 4A guy. Max, I'll take Max. It's like all-star game, all-star game, all-star game. Does that catch up? Because if I were the GM of the Kansas City Royals, just picking a team over, hey, I was thinking, that shortstop you never use? I'd kind of like to have him. I'd be like, okay, you can't have him. No, you can't have him.
The problem with that is that they're so. If they had a really poor farm system, hypothetically speaking, right? Dodgers, and it's like, all right, well, they only have one path of getting there. Maybe look at all the shortstops that were overpaid in the offseason. And the Dodgers weren't one of those teams who needed a shortstop. That kind of threw you off for a loop. You're like, well, why would he do that? Maybe because he doesn't want to spend $200 million there. He wants to spend $200 million in other places and go kind of fill in other holes. But I don't think you're wrong there. Any move that he says, hey, talking to another team, I know you're not using that specific player. What do you think if we do this? It's a lot different of a conversation than if the Oakland A's GM or president calls.
If the Angels call and say, you want my backup shortstop? Yeah, maybe. What do you got for me? The Dodgers, no. Lose my number. I don't want to do a deal with you. We are.
Block his number.
You and I going to get our first team Thick Van Exel practice in on Thursday for our pickleball team.
What do we do with the Yates? What's the situation there? What do we do?
With the what?
With the Yates.
Nothing. No. It's not complicated. You're too nice. We have 4. He was the 5th. You don't need 5 to play pickleball, right? I don't need that.
Unbelievable.
I like Clinton. I like hanging out with Clinton. I like doing shows with Clinton. But we got 4 guys. Look, if Ron ditches us, we'll call Clinton.
Yeah, we're staying with the 4. I mean, that's not changing. It's just you can't have 5. What are you going to do with 5?
Well, the odds of my knee exploding during the practice is possible. So maybe we should get
don't move.
Get him over there. Don't worry about that.
I got that covered.
Don't worry about that. We're getting, of course, ready for the inaugural Pickleball Madness Tournament, Saturday, March 18th, 12 days from right now, 10 a to 4 p at Mile Square Park in Fountain Valley, the Agape Pickleball Center. You, too, can come on out and check this out. Reserved seating is available. You can register at ESPNLA.com. It is open to anybody who would like to come. Come on out, press the flesh, have a beer, talk it up. We'll talk Laker basketball. We'll talk about the Dodgers. I love talking about the Dodgers. Thanks to Michelob Ultra, Bud Light Seltzer, and Pizza Hut. There'll be TVs out there to watch all the college basketball games, Pop-A-Shot, pickleball demos, and lessons. You're thinking, I don't have anybody to watch the kids. Don't worry about it. Bring them out. There's a kid zone. There's a beer garden. There's complimentary food and drink, DJ, entertainment. Anything you want is going to be out there March 18th, 10 to 4, Agape Pickleball Center in Fountain Valley.
I'll watch the kids. My mom used to have a daycare. I'm in.
That would be great. Like
rolling up the sleeves and.
By the way,
yeah.
What if that were
Al and Trav are out in the first round? They have to watch the kids.
You read my mind. First 7-10 team out has to tend the daycare. Now the downside is
that's awesome.
The parents out there listen to these shows. Probably, I'm not letting Sedano and Cap, Trav and Sliwa, or Mason and Ireland watch my kids. We're not doing that. We'll probably have
how are the goldfish crackers? The damn crackers. That fruit roll up.
We need a TV and
Barney,
the Wiggles, Barney, and the Backyardigans.
Every kid needs an iPad.
Mary Poppins.
For whatever
restaurant.
My kids are old. I haven't seen anything
Bluey?
for a long time.
Got some Bluey out there.
I don't know what that is.
For whatever restaurant that I see kids at, everybody needs an iPad.
Look? I don't flex my parenting ever because every parent ever makes a bunch of mistakes, and we all do. The iPad at the dinner table is like, yeah. Come on, man.
Oh no, but it's every dinner
I know.
table.
I'm not saying that it's not common. It's just one of those. Really, just eat faster. A half hour without the iPad, you can get it done. The Dump coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 7:10.
Time for everything we haven't gotten to today. Yes, it's time for the dump.
All right, Emily, you're going to get probably a little tired of me talking about the World Baseball Classic because it starts tomorrow. Cuba and I believe the Netherlands have the first game tomorrow. It's not the World Cup. It's not the Olympics. It's not any of those other international competitions that we typically have. Team USA has a stacked roster. Like, they got really good players. They've got the two best catchers in baseball, Real Muto and Will Smith. You've got Mike Trout. You've got Mookie Betts. You've got Trey Turner. Like, you've got the best players in your sport competing for the American team. And it's like, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I won't. It's a bizarre setup that no one really cares.
I hope
the
it's
DR team is amazing. They've got all the best players, too. It's really, really competitive.
I hope it's more like an all-star. I'm sorry, it's not like an all-star game, and it's more like, I don't know, like something that they're actually trying to compete for. Because if it's just like an all-star game where people are like
it's not.
trotting out there and something that is not watchable. But if it's actually cool,
the reason why it won't be like that is because a lot of these other countries that are a part of it are really prideful in wanting to win for their country. So the best comp is basketball for the Olympics, right? USA basketball. Now, the difference is you have so many different countries in the World Baseball Classic. You got a handful that are really good, right? You have a
handful plus.
Okay,
I'd
so
say there's 6 or 7 really good teams.
It's not really like that when it comes to the Olympics for USA basketball. Basically, the only storyline is if they don't win the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of Spain, kind of Argentina, but they're not. You'd be surprised if they
win
didn't
it
win.
all. Yeah.
right? France now with Wembanyama.
Here, the DR team. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is the Dominican team. This is the pitching on all these teams is the weak link, right? Nobody's really sending their best pitchers with a couple of exceptions. But the infield for the DR, Willie Adames, Rafael Devers, Wander Franco, Manny Machado, Jeremy Pena.
Jeez.
Those are all all-star caliber players in their outfield. Teoscar Hernandez, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, all-star caliber players. The Americans have Ohtani is playing in this thing. Yu Darvish
hit a home run off his knee.
Yu Darvish is pitching for the Japanese team. I really want to care about this, Al. Make me care, because I don't.
Okay, so will you not watch
I will
anything?
watch.
Okay.
No, I will watch, but I just know that the stakes are pretty low. I just know that. Put it to you this way. Does anybody in this room, I happen to know because I read it earlier today, not because, do you know who won it last time? It's been 6 years since they played it. Anybody know?
Was it Japan?
No.
DR.
No. Taylor, you want to
South Korea.
No. USA. That's my point. It's like, oh, okay. Like,
also, do we have a lot of Dutch players playing in the MLB?
Curaçao is part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, so all the players from Curaçao play for the Dutch team. Yeah, right?
No, I had no idea.
That's what I mean.
No idea.
And by the way, I didn't know that either until I read it, but I'd love to see it. Happy birthday to Shaquille O'Neal, who turns 51 years old today. Shaq and I are the same age, Slee. We look a little different. He seems to be doing a little bit better than I do. Shaq is still... Magic's my all-time favorite Laker.
Yep.
Shaq's a close second. Shaq is just... I just love Shaq. Great player, obviously, goes without saying. But
personality.
He just was fun to have around. And when he'd get going, man, forget it.
Did you ever hear the story, and M has it on here on our notes, you ever heard the story, Shaq on his birthday, it was a Clippers home game, asked the Clippers, I don't know, his PR department, whatever, hey, it's my birthday, need some extra tickets, I want to invite family. And they said no to him. And John probably tell the story because I think he was doing the game. They say no to him, and Shaq's like, okay, cool. So he goes out, scores 61 points, and gets 23 rebounds against the Clippers on his 28th birthday. Why? Because they wouldn't give him extra tickets to have his family there. There was one play, Ivan remember, this is just kind of a old school, great highlight for the Lakers. Shaq grabs the rebound and starts dribbling down the floor. Throws the lob. Kobe gets it, gets an alley-oop. And anyways, one of those games. There was a time, before... remember, there was a time here before, if you take out the last, 8-9 years of the Clippers were just so incredible. They didn't have any good players.
They were inept.
They were irrelevant. They were the whole thing. But those Laker-Clipper games was 98% Laker fans at Clipper home games.
Yeah.
And this just goes back to that Shaq day on his birthday. Give him his tickets, man. Don't do that.
Okay, I understand we all kind of have that extra gear that you can go to, right? That's just, but if Shaq could just say, "Oh, really?" and go for 61, maybe we get like 10% of that on a regular basis. Not that he wasn't awesome, but there were nights with Shaq like, "Shaq, you going to engage at some point or not?"
I wish the Spurs didn't give him tickets for a game on his birthday.
Somebody in the offseason, like during the summer, saying, Shaq, you get no tickets, get him in the gym and get him in great shape and have him come in just killing people.
He's
along
beating
the
Kobe
way.
to the gym.
Right.
Kobe walks in.
Kobe
Shaq's
walks
here?
in at 3 a.m. and Shaq's already all sweated up and done with his workout along the way. Derrick Henry, running back for the Tennessee Titans, allegedly on the trade block. Some big names, DeAndre Hopkins, Jalen Ramsey, some others who have been shopped in recent days, according to people who know. Derrick Henry should have a giant flashing sign over his head that says, "Stay away, stay away, stay away." Great player, beast.
Is it more just because the running back?
It's the position.
Yeah.
he's older.
The second those guys aren't what they were, that's it.
Okay, has it always been like this?
Yes.
Like back in the Priest Holmes, LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, like just kind of thinking about...
LT is a little bit different because he lasted much longer than everyone else, but
it's the shelf life.
It's the shelf life, and especially a guy like Derrick Henry, whose entire game is just being big and strong and fast and
Running
smashing
you over.
into people.
Sure.
That takes a toll on guys. How many guys have 10-year runs at that position?
No.
Like 5 in the history of the league? Walter Payton, LaDainian Tomlinson. It's about it.
Okay, with all that said, do you think on the trade block, A, do you think he gets traded? B, do you think he gets traded for a lot?
Yes, no. Somebody will take. Look, if the price is right, sure. What's the harm? We saw the Rams had a rotating cast of running backs back there. Really, until the very end, and Cam Akers, none of them really had much of an impact.
Yeah.
But the way I'd flip it, and they're not stylistically, they're very different. This is getting in on the Todd Gurley business after the Rams had traded him. Right? Anybody want any part of that? That dude was the best player in football, arguably, for a couple of years, and he was out of the league 3 years later. That's how quick it goes at that position. Robbie Gould, now the Rams don't need a kicker, but somebody might. Robbie Gould out with the 49ers. ESPN's Adam Schefter on Saturday reported that Gould will test free agency and sign elsewhere for the 2023 season. You know what I'm going to say, right? You know who should be having...
Cowboys?
No.
Wasn't the Cowboys the kicker couldn't hit an extra point?
He couldn't get an extra point, but that's not what I was thinking. That's not a bad... Yes.
Good as gold.
I know that the guy that they had last year was okay,
yeah.
But what have they had trouble with year after year after year? Kickers that can't make it.
Yep.
This guy is about as sure. Now he's not kicking 60-yarders, but if you run him out there, he's probably going to make it. This
exciting!
Seems perfect.
How exciting was the extra points for the Cowboys moving forward? That was the most exciting part of the Cowboys season for me. Mike, I got no idea if the guy's going to hit the extra point or not.
That was bizarre.
I had people texting. He's missed 3 in a row.
What was this for Brett Maher?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was he missed 5 in a row. 5
Wasn't
in a
it
row.
6 if you counted? Or no, maybe it was 5.
Yeah, he missed 4 in the
game.
one game. He missed the other one. And then the one that he got blocked was going to miss for sure.
That one was...
That was a shank.
Nope. Yeah, that one
It was terrific. The NBA has rescinded Giannis's 10th rebound from last night, which gave him a triple-double. League rules state that in order for a field goal attempt to count, the player must shoot with the intent to score.
Okay, so let me... And this was so not Giannis. I didn't understand what was going on here. So Giannis was a rebound away from getting a triple-double. The game was over. So Giannis had the ball on the other side of the floor. Clock's ticking, 5, 4. Just stood next to the basket and missed on purpose to get his 10th rebound.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, Giannis, what are you doing? It's Giannis. Giannis, don't do that.
That's why it wasn't a big deal, is because it's Giannis. Like, if this were, who's a player that we all kind of look at like, nah, not a fan? James Harden. Okay, if it were James Harden that did something like that, I'd be like, Harden's a bum, and he, how embarrassing, bad for the league.
Yeah.
Can't believe. With Giannis, it's like, yeah, Giannis, come on, man, don't do that.
I
And we
think
just
if
keep it
LeBron
moving
did
real
it,
quick.
they'd be like, okay, LeBron, you don't
LeBron
need
would get
it.
hammered for doing
I
it.
love that the NBA rescinded it. I didn't know, actually. I thought he got his triple-double. I didn't know that doesn't count. But he was literally under the basket by himself and went, tink.
What did you
Grab
make
it.
of, you mentioned his name, it made me think of it. What did you make of LeBron's dream that he tweeted about?
Yeah, I saw that. I actually only saw that here. I didn't even see the tweet when it originally came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it.
Emily, I have plenty to make of it. What do you make of it?
I think that it's another evidence of LeBron maybe embellishing on a story. Let's just say that.
It was the most linear dream I've ever heard of in my life.
Exactly.
Like, dreams
a lot of
are
details.
bizarre.
Yeah,
but dreams are not. I was playing golf and I missed a 2-footer in a match against Jack Nicklaus. It's like that's
Carolina
linear.
Duke. It's an epic game.
There's that, but there's like Grimace is in the crowd
it's
and
dark
your
all of a
mom is
sudden.
there and there's like a rainstorm in the middle. It's just there's a bunch of nonsense. This just sounds like something that he would have liked to experience at some point.
Do you
Would've been
think
cool.
MJ is dreaming about LeBron too?
I don't think LeBron was dreaming about MJ.
By the way,
if we're being
one
honest.
thing that you did forget, National Dentist Day. This is your day, bro. This is a very special day for you.
I changed dentists, and so I'm in between cleanings right now.
That's awesome.
The other guy was not meeting my needs, so we had to go switch it up. John, Slee looks at me like I'm crazy because I like going to the dentist.
I like going to my dentist.
Yeah, me too.
My dentist. I have the Laker dentist as my dentist, and he's great. Shout out Ray Padilla.
But do you look forward to going to, like, you're getting your teeth, but he actually looks forward to, like, hey, I get to go get my teeth cleaned. He likes it.
Yeah. You're out of your mind.
Why? That's nice and clean and fresh. It feels wonderful.
Well, why don't you be like me and be a serial teeth brusher?
I
brush
am.
my teeth like 7 times a day.
I'm not 7, but I'm good for 3.
Well, if I'm home,
I'm about 3.
I'm brushing my
2 to
teeth.
3.
So
it's not a.
I'm not like Michael. Michael will floss during games.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Overtime.
Yeah. I'm not in lieu of brushing. I just like to come out of there and.
All right. So have you heard?
Whistle clean.
This may interest you. I was just telling my wife about this. I saw an ad for a new toothbrush that basically flosses while you're brushing, shoots water through your teeth while you're
like
brushing.
a Waterpik.
Yeah, it's
toothbrush,
made by
toothbrush
Waterpik. Like
hybrid.
Google it. Yeah, and you can buy it.
Do you know the manufacturer suggested retail price? Because I'm curious.
But I mean, it'd be something that how often do you buy? Like I have an electric toothbrush now. I have no idea how long I've had that thing.
I like to go old school.
It looks like at 160 right now. I just
That's
looked
not too
at
bad.
Best Buy,
I mean, it's not nothing, but
yeah,
that's,
but I mean, it'll last you 10 years. It just changed the bristle head.
I'll have a standing order every 2 weeks.
You're
a new one
old
comes
school?
in.
I'm old school, too.
I am.
Wait, you don't use an electric
I
toothbrush?
do.
I don't.
I have a Quip that I use
Yeah.
occasionally, but I like to. I don't know. I like a little more vigor when I get in there. The vibrations aren't giving me what I need. Let's do a little Super Crosstalk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begins.
Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
Woo, 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 woo. I feel like somebody needs to do that in Mason's absence.
Well, Mason's probably doing it wherever he is right now.
Do we know where he went?
He says he went to New Mexico.
Oh.
But he claims he is completely disconnected, which we know is a lie.
That's
because he's been claiming this for years. And one day, Ramona's on her way in here, and Ramona said, I go, hey, Mason's disconnected, so I can't get a hold of him. She goes, I made a fantasy baseball trade with him 45 minutes ago. Mason has no self-control.
Al's pretty good at this. When you go away, you go away. You kind of unplug from the whole deal. I'm not super plugged in when I'm out. What are you? When you're gone, guy?
No, I'm always connected.
But you're not big. You're not big in posting or social. All that stuff. Like you're not doing that a lot. I think that's to me is the definition of whether you're plugged in or not. Are you checking social all the time? I won't do that when I'm gone.
But you're not even like. I mean, maybe you are. Are you texting friends and stuff? Like keeping up with your group text threads and all that? Because when I'm on vacation, I kind of check out on all that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely separate. I separate from it.
Are you texting your neighbors, John? I know you like to keep in touch with that group, too.
I do like my neighbors very much, but no, when I'm on vacation, I only want to hear from them if someone is taking my TV out of my house.
That'd be a crappy text again. Hey,
well,
last some guy in a ski mask
there were like torrential rains, and a bunch of my neighbors were out of town. It was during COVID, and like 3 houses on our street flooded.
Oh boy!
So all the people that were out of town, we were like breaking into their house and fixing it, but we got it all. Everybody made it out unscathed.
Does everybody know on your street where everybody keeps the hidden key? Because everybody's got the hidden key. It's in the backyard. It's under the palm tree or whatever. Does everybody got one of those?
No, because I live in a guard-gated area, and most of the time you can just walk in.
You just walk in the front
locking the door.
Attention, criminals!
If people are home, they'll leave their doors unlocked. But if they're gone, they'll lock them up.
Yeah, I'm going to lock that thing. I'm going to make sure.
You don't trust. Well, you don't even know your neighbors.
Well, no,
what
I
mean.
trust everybody.
Trust
That's my
He doesn't even want to talk to his neighbors.
I don't trust human beings.
Yeah,
like it's just one of those things that that guy didn't look like he locked his door. Let's go see what kind of stuff he's got.
I'm not great at that.
What's going on with John Morant?
Okay, so I heard you guys talking. Momo just walked in. I want her to get in here before I start talking about this because she knows some stuff too. I think you guys are both of you, severely underestimating how long John Morant is going to be out.
You think so?
I do. You Slee, you said you can't imagine him being out for more than a week.
I said that.
Okay, I'm curious what Ramona thinks, but I think this is being treated with a level of seriousness that could have John Morant out for the rest of the year.
Okay,
Do you
so
really?
did you see? You just read my latest story, right? On
We
that?
read him a couple of minutes ago.
No, but what do you know?
So here's the
Wow.
couple of this is where things
guys,
get
he could be in
complicated.
jail.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean he could have broken gun laws. I
Yeah.
mean, if you Sliwa, I was laughing because I heard you saying maybe you'll be right and I'll have to eat this.
Yeah.
But you were saying he won't miss the Dallas games. They have back-to-backs against Dallas.
I
guys,
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not even here.
Yeah,
he's not even in LA.
Okay, so let's table set with just the news. Okay, so in Colorado, Liz Merrill and I were just reporting on this. We called the police out in Colorado, which
Because Denver is where he flashed the gun, right?
Okay, so this was important. All right, the game was Friday night, and a lot of times teams will fly after a game to LA. So when I first saw the video Saturday morning, I said, "Oh man, if they're in LA, that's a big problem, right? Because obviously in LA,
Yeah, we're not an open carry state.
We're not an open carry state.
Yeah.
Now what we confirmed was that it was in Colorado. They stayed over. They did not fly into LA until Saturday, and it's the Glendale Police Department, which is also Glendale, Colorado, not Glendale here, confirmed that they're investigating the incident. Now, this is also very important because it speaks to whether or not it's likely that he would be charged. I think it's going to be difficult to charge him because even though Colorado is an open carry state, in other words, open carry means you can have a gun. You don't need all the permits and all that stuff. Because it's an open carry state, however, it is illegal to have a firearm if you are intoxicated.
Right. How are they going to prove that?
Exactly. Okay. How do you prove that? Now, in the video, you can make your own assumptions. Like he's not seen drinking, but there are people in the video that are seen drinking. Okay?
5 a.m.
But
in the morning.
But there was no field sobriety test. Nobody called the cops from the bar. So I think it'll be. This is my opinion. Okay. I think it's going to be difficult to charge him with anything because there was no field sobriety test done. Because he would have to incriminate himself and say, A, that was a gun. B, was it his gun? Now, where this gets interesting, John, and this is, I think, the real story. Okay, if it's confirmed that was a real gun, which people have to confirm, that's step A in an investigation.
I mean,
it
as
is
opposed
illegal.
to like a toy you're
Wouldn't
talking
he,
about?
But when he came out and apologized, wouldn't he have admitted? Wouldn't he have said something if that wasn't a real gun?
Oh, I wouldn't incriminate myself. That statement was very carefully worded.
Right, but I don't think he wrote it. But
either way, okay.
But what I think what I interpreted that statement was him admitting he was at fault.
Yeah, he's saying I'm sorry for all of it. Okay, so it was a very blanket general. I thought
I'm
fairly
sorry
heartfelt
for creating
apology.
a ruckus, basically.
Yeah, but this is where it gets interesting. NBA rules, and we're going to go back to Gilbert Arenas in 2010.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what happened with him.
Gilbert brought unloaded weapons to the Wizards locker room, and in the collective bargaining agreement, it says very plainly, NBA players are prohibited from bringing firearms or any other deadly weapons to an NBA facility or while traveling on team business.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
that's why, Slee, I think you're a little bit naive here on. Man, maybe I'm the naive one, but I actually think about it. He had a gun.
Yep.
And so was that gun in the hotel?
Was it on the team plane?
Was it on the bus?
Was it his?
Was it in the
somebody give it
locker
to him?
room? If any of that is determined to be true, they just had a shooting incident in Memphis.
Yeah.
That they're still trying to get over. I mean, I thought Taylor Jenkins last night. Did you stay for the second game?
I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought Taylor Jenkins was talking like a guy that Jaw's not coming back anytime soon.
I agree.
I wouldn't. Trav, to couch it in the terms you were talking about it, I would be shocked if he played in either one of those Dallas games.
Okay, so and here's the
fact
thing.
that it's. I'm sorry, Ramona. But the fact that it seems like and maybe the league is operating in the background. Perhaps that's what's going on. But that the team is the one that's administering this, whatever you want to call it, suspension or time away.
No, they
didn't.
But
they're talking to the NBA.
Right.
No, this is an NBA decision now.
The-
I'm just
the
telling you. I'm
NBA is
reporting
the
on
one
the story.
that's in
This
on
is
this
with Adam
decision.
Silver, and the big question is Adam Silver going to punish him as severely as, let's say, David Stern?
Probably not, because he's a players commissioner. But I also don't think it's a week.
So this is the one thing I told Trav. I said, I don't know how involved the NBA is going to be in this. And that's kind of the overlying question. Listen, the Memphis Grizzlies can sit here and say, put out that statement. And you know what, John Morant, learn from your mistakes and take some time away from the team, and hopefully you come back and you learn from your mistakes, and let's go make a run in the Western Conference. But it might not have nothing to do with the Memphis Grizzlies. That's the one thing I did mention.
Anymore.
Yeah,
and it's not
by
up to
the
Ja
way,
either.
Yeah. By the way, the GM of the Grizzlies is a guy named Zach Kleiman, who used to work for the Lakers. He is a great guy. He is also a lawyer. He is also a lawyer who worked in the NBA offices.
Yeah.
So he knows Adam Silver. He knows everybody that's involved in this. And he is a super level-headed, not going to knee-jerk guy. And he's not putting Ja back out there until this thing is buttoned up. I guarantee it.
Is it part of the – because I thought – I said this to Slee. The language that was used in describing what was going on I thought was particularly interesting, and it was – we want to get him the help that he needs. We want to make sure that he's okay. It wasn't he committed a crime that needs to be punished. It wasn't you broke this rule, therefore this is your suspension. It was more like he's going through. I'm trying to find the right words myself.
Well, think about it.
He's going through something. We want to help him get through this, and at the same time figure out why he's allegedly getting in fights with 17-year-olds, why he's brandishing a gun in a club, why he's doing all of these things right as he's about to become arguably the face of the league. He's got the Nike shoe, he's got the Powerade deal. Like, he's right on the edge of becoming one of the guys in the league if he isn't already.
Trav, he's already there.
Yeah, he's like literally everyone you talk to, he's their favorite young player.
But this wasn't we want to discipline him for doing something dumb.
No,
this
they're
is,
worried.
We want to get
they're
him the
worried
help.
about this guy becoming Allen Iverson.
Right,
is what they're worried about.
Well, and here's the big question. I think you're like he's everyone's favorite young player. Like everybody's rooting.
Michael Thompson, who obviously played in the league and has been around forever, says Ja is the most athletic guard in the history of the NBA.
And he's super he's likable,
super popular.
He's got a fun personality as well. It is not in the NBA's interest to discipline him here. I mean, it hurts.
Sure.
Their brand.
Sure.
It hurts his brand.
So maybe Slee, that's a feather
that's
in your
the
cap.
best thing he's got going for him.
Maybe they do bring him back in 4 days to sweep this thing under the rug a little bit, but I don't think they're gonna. I think it's serious enough where they're going to get lawyers involved.
But what if the Colorado law enforcement, whatever jurisdiction this is under, comes back and says, "Listen, there's really nothing we
can't
do here.
prove.
We don't have a case to move forward on."
By the way, I think that's almost likely.
I think it's very likely too. And then the NBA at that point, or the Grizzlies, or if you're telling me it's the NBA, fine. Saying, look, he didn't commit a crime. It's a bad look. We've talked to him. We've sat him down for a couple of games. He's going to play. That feels like
they didn't sit him down,
outcome.
by the way.
Memphis
He's
did.
the one who stepped away.
Okay.
If you read that statement very carefully, he has decided to step away to seek help. Okay, and
help for what?
He says stress.
Well, Trav, think about it.
Now,
wait, help for what?
I'm asking. It's not a judgment.
No.
I'm
But
asking.
here's what I'm putting at it. I obviously, for 20 years, have traveled with an NBA team. If I brandished a weapon in any way, shape, or form, not only am I fired, I'm probably in jail. Now, Ja, I'm not going to compare myself to Ja because Ja's an elite $200 million player. But the idea of, and this has come from somebody that travels with a team, the idea of one of the players having a gun in his possession, particularly if it's loaded, scares the living hell out of me. And it's not just because I think the guy would be irresponsible. Maybe Ja is a completely responsible gun owner. I don't know. But the gun getting into the hotel, getting into his suitcase, however he transported it, that suitcase, and trust me, I know because I travel with these guys, gets touched by 10, 15 different people on the way to getting under the bus, into the luggage truck. It could very easily end up in a locker room. There's a player named Sebastian Telfair. Do you guys remember him?
Yeah.
So one
With the
time,
Celtics.
he was playing for the Blazers. He played for a bunch of teams. He's playing for the Blazers, and he liked to have his pillow it helped him sleep, so he would bring a pillow with him on the road. And when he was home one day, he stuck a gun in his pillowcase, and he gets on the plane, and he puts his head on the pillow, and he realizes, oh, crap, I have a loaded gun on the plane in my pillowcase. And he called, everybody has a security officer. He called him over, and he said, hey, I don't want to freak you out. This was an absolute oversight by me, but I have a gun, and I want to give it to the pilot. I want to do the right thing.
Wow.
And they did, and they disciplined him for it. But that was an accident. If somebody is carrying a weapon, even if he's got a permit, it is so dangerous in the world that we travel in and live in that I think the NBA is going to treat it as such. Now, to Ramona's point, if they don't want to embarrass Ja, and he's the Grizzlies are a great young team, maybe they do suspend him for 2 more games and bring him back. I don't know, but I can tell you that
it sounds more unlikely.
The level of seriousness which this is going to be treated is going to be high. I think you think he's coming back in a week.
I do.
Yeah,
maybe
you're right.
Because it's in the leagues. They want their best young players playing. They want them in
but
the
they
court.
also don't want these storylines
around. Look, for all intents and purposes, as far as I know, this is his first offense, right?
No.
What do you
Did you
mean,
read
no?
the Washington Post story?
Which about beating up the kid?
No, there's 3 incidents.
3 incidents.
Okay,
but you pointed all those. You highlighted all those.
My point is, this is the first time he's bubbled up as, air quotes, a problem, right? We bring him in. We say, enough of this. He says, it'll never happen again. There's no laws that have been broken. He's not being prosecuted anywhere else. And we want him back on the court so we can start talking about Ja, what you said, best young player, most athletic guard ever. Let's start that, because the longer he's gone, the longer we're talking about guns and breaking the law.
Right, but here's what I think you're overlooking. If you read the Washington Post story, among the things, there's allegedly he beat up this 17-year-old. His agent has come out and said none of these things are true. The Pacers thing where they put a laser sight on somebody.
Team bus or something,
Momo, he had one of his friends was banned for a year.
That's in regard to the Pacers thing.
Yeah.
So the Pacers thing was the Pacers team bus is outside after a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the story I heard was that Ja was in the passenger seat of this vehicle where from that vehicle a red laser was shined onto the chest of some of the Pacers players and team associates.
I mean, you
traveling
can't be,
party.
Come on, you can't be messing around with
like a red laser. Now,
of course not, John.
I have heard it from both sides.
Is anybody sure it's a gun? It wasn't a laser.
Well, no,
there's
but just think about what you and I use for a putter.
That's
but
what I'm saying.
Trav, just think about that association with this one guy over this small period of time.
They never
zoom
miss
out a little
on
bit.
the side of over-disciplining, ever.
How?
They always miss on the short side.
How many incidents have you been involved in the last year? How many times have you been involved?
Specifically?
Right.
0.
Right. How many incidents has Ja Morant been involved in the past year?
Well, at least 3 and probably 4.
I'm not Ja Morant.
I know. What I'm saying is it speaks to a pattern of behavior on and off the court that is dangerous. I mean, it's like to John's point, having what appears to be a weapon on you while you're traveling.
I agree with all of what you're saying, and if this were not somebody that was integral to the success and thriving of a business, and when I can make something go away and I can at least make a passing attempt that I gave it some thought, that's typically where people land. They don't land on the
good news is
side.
we're going to find out pretty quick. He's not going to play tomorrow, and they'll probably say something on Wednesday.
Fair enough. More of that coming up on Mason and Island. Momo's in for May. Super Crosstalks powered by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all